I'd like to ask the fire chief to make a few comments.
Good evening. We're in a new room tonight, not the normal space. I just want to remind everybody that there's 2 exits on each side in the front, get out, and an exit in the back stairway. To make sure that everybody knows the capacity of this room is only 200. So if it gets crowded, please don't stand in the aisles. Stand in the back corner if the seats all get full. But I just wanted to remind everybody that there is 2 exits in the front to get out, and I just checked both of them. They're both clear. Have a good evening.
Okay, before we get started, I'd like to introduce the stage. To my right is the Board of Selectmen, Chris Hillman, Janice Livingston, Gary Luca, and Town Administrator Robert Pontbrand. To my left is the newly elected Town Clerk and Tax Collector, Susan Curtin Copeland. And the Financial Commission, Scott Hood, John Kilcommons, Mary Zawicki, and not present is Christopher Musel. And I'd like to start the meeting by reading the charge.
Annual Town Meeting Warrant, May 12, 2014 at 7 p.m. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Middlesex, SS. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Ayer, qualified to vote in town elections and affairs, to meet at the Great Hall in the Ayer Town Hall, located at 1 Main Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, on Monday, the 12th day of May, 2014, at 7 o'clock in the evening, then and there to act on the following articles. Hereof fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereof to the town clerk before the date appointed for said meeting. Given under our hands this 22nd day of April, AD 2014. Gary J. Luca, Christopher R. Hillman, Janice L. Livingston, Pauline Conley, Ayer Board of Selectmen. A true copy attest. As directed in the foregoing warrant, I have this day posted 3 attested copies in 3 public places, one of which was the Town Hall at least 7 days before said meeting, all as herein directed. Robert Frederick, April 25th, 2014.
At this point, I'll ask everybody to stand. Repeat after me, face the flag. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I ask you to remain standing, please? Every year we do a remembrance of people who have passed away who have served the town in different capacities. Armin Garino, School Committee, Principal of the high school. Mary Kidder, Zoning Board of Appeals, Council on Aging. Hartwell Kidder, Council on Aging. Priscilla Huttel, Council on Aging. Patricia Walsh, School Committee. Zelda Moore, Ayer Historic Commission. Marilyn Guichard, Ayer Council on Aging. Louise Naylor, Board of Health, Ayer Council on Aging. Could you take a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Okay. Article 2. To see if the town will vote to hear and act on the reports of several town of Ayer officers and committees that may be ready to report or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Finance Committee, Town Accountant, Community Preservation Committee.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
I move Article 2 as stated by you, the moderator.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to hear the reports of the several town of Ayer officers and committees that may be ready to report or take any action thereon in relation thereto. Finance Committee, Town Accountant, Community Preservation Committee. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Hood.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. Sorry. New digs, got to figure out where to stand. Yeah, please. All right, so I just want to, I'll be brief because it is very warm. I just want to give you a quick overview of what we went into the budget process itself. The guidelines that the Finance Committee gave out to the department heads was level funding for all expenses, with increases that have to be quantified. This was to more strategically place where our dollars were going to go and also eliminate the percentage overlays of increases. Use of free cash for one-time expenses that will not roll over into the FY16 budgets. So this gives us a little more flexibility in what we're spending our money on. And the allocation of the free cash, which has been a growing balance over the last year and a half, utilizing it for OPEB stabilization, capital assets and projects, and we use available free cash to purchase assets without any impact to the omnibus budget. Within the omnibus budget, there are 2 new positions. One is for the fire department, one is for the DPW. The Finance Committee, we are not in the business of making hiring decisions, so therefore it did fit within the budget for both positions, so we elected to leave it in and let town meeting make the final decision. They control the budget. The Board of Selectmen are the appointing authority. One is a fire department. It's a full-time day position to assist with daily business, which includes fire prevention, inspections, and other day-to-day activities. Estimated salary is around $75,000 plus benefits. Right now, it is unknown if it is a union position or a non-union position. On the Department of Public Works Administration, there is a request for a town engineer. It's a full-time position with an estimated salary of $70,000 per year plus benefits, and this would be a non-union employee. The general budget itself, we have revenue increase of about 12%. The overall operating budget as presented is an increase of 5.4% over last year. And that includes the new positions and all the one-time funding from free cash that we do have. If you strip those pieces out, we are looking at about a 3.6% increase. And there's also 2 other pieces in the operating budget, which is an increase to cover potential lawsuit expenses for the town and also some other insurance costs for a 111F. If you actually strip those out, the overall budget has grown about 1.73% over last year. Okay. Some of the big movers that we do have, the Ayer Shirley Regional School assessment is a 5% increase, about $446,000. We increased the reserve fund transfer $150,000 to increase potential costs for the Bolduc lawsuit against the town. Department of Public Works has an increase of $137,000. That's for all of DPW. That includes the $70,000 for the engineer and also $46,000 for increased snow removal costs. The fire department has an increase of $121,962, which is includes an increase of $75,000 for the new position. And the police department has an increase of $119,000, which includes about $47,000 increase for overtime, which matches the current spending trends that we have. The big decreases that we have in the budget, employee health benefits decreased to $128,000 based upon mix of the employees taking it and also other benefits. Bond and principal interest reduced about $83,000. Those are just the bonds that we have paid off as a town. And then Neshoba Valley Technical High School assessment is down about $18,000 over last year due to reduced student population. Just a quick look ahead on the Finance Committee. We're going to be working on the next year a 5-year budget model so we can get a better look at sustainability financially as we go through the fiscal year. We're going to possibly to work with the department heads to get a 3-year forecast to get their ideas as to how they want to grow the town and how they want to grow their departments. Working with the regional leadership team to solve any regional school district concerns that both the town and the schools have. The non-union compensation study review and implementation will be in this year, and we'll get the financial policies updated. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Lisa Gabri?
Good evening, everyone. In the back of the room here, you should see a packet that looks like this. It's my traditional little packet for town meeting. It has some, just a quick schedule that shows, and Cindy's going to put it up, it shows that we have a balanced budget. That's what we're looking at tonight. And just some major areas of how we're using the revenues, just major revenues and major expenses. It also has a little graph that shows you where the revenues come from and where the expenses are spent. I'm going to talk about this next section, which is the revenue projections, but also included in here is a larger version of what you're going to see on the screen for the omnibus. In case you want to watch it on the screen, there's also some information on enterprise funds, which are articles, I think, 9 through 13. And there's a debt schedule by major function at the very end. So we'll go on to, well, this is just a quick, it's also in that financial packet. It just shows you where the revenues are coming from and the expenses, the major expenses, and the fact that we have a balanced budget as well as putting $785,000 into stabilization, which is basically the town's savings fund, and another $300,000 towards OPEB, which is it's basically the health insurance benefits for our future retirees. We have about $11 million liability as it stands, and you'll see later in the meeting that we're asking for this additional funding to bring it up over $500,000 towards that $11 million liability. So really quick on the revenue projections. Cindy, oh, can I skip this? I'm sorry. Oops. Back again. Okay, state aid is a little bit higher than it was last year, about $28,000. Taxes are quite a bit, a jump, and I have a separate schedule for that. And about just over $1 million is due to this high school, the debt on the high school, so the debt exclusion. Local receipts jumped about $160,000, and that's mainly due to motor vehicle excise and meals tax, local meals tax. Free cash. Actually, it was almost $1.5 million in FY14, but you didn't vote to use all of it, so you began the year with about $600,000 in free cash, and we added another $1 million or so through the results of FY13's operations. It was about $600,000, almost $700,000 in revenue favorable variances, and another $400,000 in expenditure favorable variances. Other is mostly overlay surplus that was released by the Board of Assessors. So you see that our total revenues have increased $2.8 million. And then we take the charges, which is state charges for things such as air pollution control, mosquito control, and so forth. So we take that back. We back it out of the revenue projections. And you can see we have about $24 million, or an increase of about $2.7 million. Meat taxes. Just for a quick breakdown of the taxes, we start with a property base from the previous year, which we need to add in the taxed levy, the unused levy capacity from the previous year to get to the 17.9 million. We add in Prop 2.5 increases and an estimate from the Board of Assessors of $375,000 for new growth. The Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen have agreed, again, to purposely not levy up to capacity, so there's $300,000 which will not be used, bringing us to about $18.4 million. And then we add the debt exclusions. So the first line is the debt exclusions on the buildings and assets that you've already approved in the past, such as the town hall renovation and water treatment plant. and the library expansion, and the new fire station, and the new police station. So all those things are already in your tax base, and this is the debt service for FY15 on those items. And then the biggest one is the debt exclusion on the high school. And you see that this year, for FY14, it's basically just short-term borrowing, so there's short-term interest of $188,000. But next year is when principal will kick in as well, so it jumps to just over $1 million. And the last sheet is just a quick sheet on charges, and basically flatlined from the previous year. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, yes. That, I believe we're in the last year of the library. That's it.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other report? There being none, we'll go on to Article 3. Mr. Swanfeld. Is there any discussion on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? As the ayes have it, motion is agreed to. Okay, Article 3. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following amount to pay unpaid bills of fiscal year 2013 as authorized under General Laws, Chapter 44, or take any action thereon in relation thereto. Public Works, Bay State Roads Program, $110. Fire Department, Neshoba Valley Medical Center, $209.15. Property and Liability Insurance, Markham Group Incorporated, $100.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move that the Article 3, as read by the moderator, be moved.
Is there a second? Second. So moved and seconded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following amount of unpaid bills for the fiscal year 2013 as authorized under General Laws, Chapter 44, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Public Works, $110. Fire Department, $209.15. Property and Liability Insurance, $100. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous, therefore it is 2/4. Number 4, Article 4, Articles of Salaries of Elected Officials. To see if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of elected officials of the town of Ayer as provided by Section 108, Chapter 41 of the General Laws as amended, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Moderator, $500. Selectman, Chair, $2,506. Selectman Member, $2,235. Assessors Chair, $2,480. Assessors Members, $2,210. Treasurer, $60,984. Town Clerk, $27,443. Tax Collector, $33,542. Tree Warden, $5,728.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote as read by the moderator on Article 4.
It's been moved and seconded to set the salaries of elected officials as I just read. Is there any discussion? Ms. Bedurtha. Could you please come over to this microphone? Is it on?
Mr. Moderator? How do you turn this in?
It's on. It's on. Yes,
Mr. Moderator, okay.
Ms. Bedard.
What does it mean, fix their salaries?
It means to set it for the year. It's the same, it's to fix the salary, it's to set it in place for this year.
Okay. Did they receive COLAs?
Mr. Luca.
Ms. Bedurtha, the COLAs of 2% were given to the treasurer, town clerk, tax collector, and tree warden. None of the assessors, the selectmen, or the moderator received any COLA.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion is passed. Okay, Article 5, our favorite one. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following sums or sums of money for the omnibus items, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Tradition has it that we go through the omnibus one at a, I'll read each department out, and if there's an objection, if you have an objection to say pass, we'll come back to it. Okay. Okay. Selectmen, $153,280. Town Council, $85,000. Town Clerk, $73,702. Moderator, $500. Parking tickets, $950. Public buildings, $299,301. Registrations and elections, $12,973. Postage, $19,000. American Legion, $600. Memorial Day, $2,000. 4th of July celebration, $10,000. Communications Committee, $700. Personnel Board, $100. Okay. Department 200. Accountant, $169,658. Computer support, $44,245. Assessors, $165,286. Collector, $87,706. Treasurer, $118,792. Health and life insurance, $1,324,105. Property and liability insurance, $144,151. Workman's comp, $53,753. Police and fire accident, $161,953. Unemployment compensation, $15,511. Retirement, $1,344,155. Debt principal, $949,520. Debt interest, $232,733. Tax title, $8,000. FICA Medicare, $78,887. Finance Commission, $200. Reserve Fund, $300,000. Department 300, Police Department, $1,991,834. Fire Department, $1,479,789. Building Inspector, $88,291. Emergency Management, $9,560. Animal Control, $13,039. Barn Inspector, $1,000. Tree Warden, $20,997. Department 400. Public Works, $75,673. Street lighting, $76,400. Care of graves, $2,500. Department 500, Council on Aging, $126,502. Board of Health, $16,054. Neshoba Board of Health, $23,606. Parks, $126,086. Pop Warner, $4,000. Little League, $4,000. Veterans Agent, $19,039. Veterans Benefits, $168,000. Library, $478,263. Disabilities, $700. Department 600, Zoning Board of Appeals, $18,234. Okay. Planning Board, $19,081. Conservation, $19,922. Economic and Community Development, $33,255. Historical Commission, $750. Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, $2,219. Management Support, $6,500. Information Technology, $115,897. Okay, I think that's it, right? Is that it? Okay, so now we'll go back over the ones we passed over. Under Department 100, Public Buildings, $299,301. Okay. Next pass. Next pass. Oh, Ms. Pedortha?
Okay. I asked this question to understand why there is so much overtime.
Excuse me?
For public buildings and property maintenance,
Yeah, what was your question?
I wanted to know why there's so much overtime.
Mr. Pontbriand.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Bedurtha, the public buildings and property maintenance line, the overtime increased to $4,000. There was not overtime previously, but the facilities director, by virtue of the classification of his position and job description, is eligible for overtime for work that exceeds the 40-hour work week. Therefore, this was put in the budget in the event that there is work that is required in excess of 40 hours during the work week.
Okay. Okay, the next item passed over was 4th of July celebration, $10,000.
I'm not sure how to ask this. It's not on here correctly. It's supposed to be either split into two separate lines, or the word fireworks was supposed to have been deleted.
Lisa?
I think Lisa knows what has to be done.
Split it. There is no fireworks on here. Okay. Okay, I was on the written, okay. Yes. Mr. Hood.
Make a motion to remove the word fireworks from the omnibus budget, Department 100, line 11, to read just 4th of July celebration.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Oh.
We signed a 3-year contract this year.
Yeah.
We signed a 3-year, what?
So it's working, it's working.
That's working.
Oh, we signed a 3-year contract this year and locked it into $7,000 a year for the next 3 years. It's part of the 10,000. Yeah.
Mr. Hood.
The reason why we need to remove the fireworks from the name is if it goes into the omnibus budget as fireworks in the name of the line item, it can only be used for fireworks. So the budget is $7,000 for the fireworks and $3,000 for other costs.
Mr. Hurley.
So why don't we just lump them together like it is on the printed report?
If I may, I think what the question is, if it's written in the warrant as fireworks, all 10,000 of it goes to fireworks. If they delete the word fireworks from it, it can go to the entire celebration and be used as they see fit, with 7,000 of it going to the fireworks and 3,000 for the other expenses.
So it's giving them leeway.
Yes. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Article 2, Department 200. Next item passed over was fire and police accident insurance. Ms. Bedurtha.
I'd like to know why there is such a huge increase for this.
Mr. Pontbriand.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Bedurtha, the fire and police accident insurance, and the body town meeting will note in the note line, it says additional money for 111F. Mass General Law 111F is a Mass General Law in which firefighters or police officers that are injured while performing their duties under 111F, and there's a whole process to that. The town is legally responsible for their medical bills. And right now, the town has a 111F medical matter before it that we are legally obligated to pay the medical bills until this matter is resolved. And therefore, the increase that was requested was to cover the current 111F before the town, and also to prepare in the event that there should be another one in FY15.
When do you think this will be resolved?
Mr. Moderator, the current 111F matter we anticipate to be resolved within the first half of FY15.
Any further discussion on that one? All in favor? Oh, Ms. Connolly. Oh, true, yes. Yep. No. Okay. Okay, next article passed over is the retirement account, $1,344,155.
I'm sorry, but I need to target the big money. I wanted to
Okay.
an explanation for that.
Elizabeth, can you please address it to the moderator?
Mr. Moderator, sorry.
Okay. Is there any question, I think there was a question there, why is there an increase?
It's just an increase in our assessment, so pretty much dictated by an excess amount.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next one's Department 300, Fire Department.
Mr. Moderator, I was curious as to what the new position in the fire department is, what sort of work this new person is going to be doing, and how the salary was derived. So I'm just interested in understanding what the new position is.
Chief Pedrazi?
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Pedrazi.
I think the question, Laurie, was what is the position going to be? First of all, it's a daytime position. Right now, there's 12 full-time firefighters. They work a 24-hour shift. This would be a daytime position, 4 days a week, 4 10-hour days, a 40-hour position. First of all, to provide 4 people during the day available to go to calls. Secondary, it would be a fire prevention officer to do inspections. Right now, the way we currently work, the full-time staff that responds to emergencies also does the inspections. And quite frequently, they'll get a call right before they're scheduled to do an inspection, and we'll have to call and reschedule. And I would say conservatively that probably happens 20% of the time that they're ready to go on an inspection. They'll get a call and have to call and reschedule. So this would be a daytime person. It would be a union position, and it would be a 4-day, 10 hours a week to would take some of the load off me. Right now, I'm the only person that works a consistent week. So if one of the shifts is working on a project one day, they're not back for another 4 days. All the questions fall to me, so it would take some of the pressure off my position. This position would be a lieutenant's position, and it would be one of the lieutenants that's in the department. Yeah, it's not really an entry-level position, but it would be replaced with an entry-level person. Yes, it would be a firefighter available to respond to emergencies. Also, it would probably, during the hiring process, get us another paramedic, an entry-level paramedic, to help staff the ambulance. Actually, I had a spreadsheet that I brought with me that's back on my chair, but I think I can tell you that out of all the area towns around us during the daytime, we are the least staffed with 3 people. Devens has 8, Littleton has 6, Groton has 5. Shirley has actually less than us. Shirley has 3 people during the day, but out of the major busy ones, we are staffed the least during the day.
Any further questions? Thank you, Chief. The next item passed over was Public Works Department, $1,075,673. Ms. Connolly. Very well. Superintendent?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Pombrian.
Superintendent Wetzel is not in attendance this evening. He did prepare a brief presentation for town meeting explaining the town engineer, if the body would like to see it.
Yes. Yeah.
various utilities and developers and private residents that need to be managed. We also have GIS mapping of our town infrastructure is underway, but is slow going due to lack of resources. We've done an inventory of our water system, but we need to do an inventory and evaluation of the sewer system and the stormwater system, and then take that information and develop it into prioritized 5- and 10-year capital improvement plans so that we can integrate water, sewer, stormwater, and road projects all into single projects. And then we also have a stormwater permit that requires inspections, water quality testing, reporting, and improvement implementation. And the new permit is coming out shortly, which will have significant additional engineering-related tasks. One other thing I'd like to point out, the town engineer is not just going to be working with the DPW, but that position will assist the planning board with reviews and inspections, with Conservation Commission with reviews, inspections, making sure that stormwater permits and erosion controls being followed. We can also assist recreation with laying out of facilities, surveying, designing of special facilities, and also working with the Board of Health on reviewing aquifer protection issues and septic system plans. And I put together some potential cost savings. These are all either active projects or projects that are upcoming. And as you can see, I've reduced our engineering service budgets to account for having this position by about $15,000. And then we have a number of other ongoing projects that we can engineer in-house and save the town some significant dollars. And
any further discussion? Ms. Connolly. Mr. Pomprian, was that report available online?
It will be.
It will be. Cindy says yes. Mr. Maxon. Mr. Pomprian?
Mr. Moderator, that level of detail has not been decided.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, the next item passed over was Department 500, disabilities for $700. No discussion, okay. Department 600, Zoning Board of Appeals, $18,235. Ms. McCreary.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town reduce the amount of this line item ZBA to $0. Later, I will ask the same for the next line item, Planning Board. The remarks I have here apply to both line items.
Okay, that'd be separate motions.
Yes.
And address each one of them separately.
I make a motion that we first zero out the ZBA line item.
Is there a second? It's moved and seconded to amend the Zoning Board of Appeals line item to $0. Discussion on the proposed amendment.
Yes. The goal of the town is to deliver first-rate services to its taxpayers.
You need to speak into the microphone directly, sorry.
Yeah, I want to talk to the people who will be voting, so I'll just turn around. And everybody will be voting, of course, but the goal of the town is to deliver first-rate services to its taxpayers. Our departments should run efficiently with competent staff who oversee operations that comply with state and local statutes. Taxpayers should demand nothing less than responsiveness and the highest level of proficiency from all town departments. Such is not the case for planning and zoning boards. The administrator for these boards has cost the town dearly.
Mr. Lucchesi, and then
I have facts that I wish to convey to the public. We have paid
Mr.
financially.
Mr. Curry,
Yes.
I'm going to ask town council right now whether or not it's appropriate to discuss employees at town meeting in such a manner. I'm not sure it's even legal.
I'm explaining why I wish this to be zeroed out.
Please, I'm referring to town council right now, please.
Mr. Moderator, the item before us is the dollar amount for the Zoning Board of Appeals. I think we should be discussing the dollar amount. We should not be discussing specific staff and specific issues related to staff. We need to be speaking just with respect to the ZBA and the dollar, since that dollar amount is for the staff of the ZBA, not for individuals.
It's all related. The staff is, the dollar items go to the staff employee. And there are instances where this board is not serving us well. We have paid financially through unnecessary legal fees and untimely bond releases. Our talented volunteers have resigned because of threats and personal legal actions. The town has even forfeited a gift of valuable acres of property due to
Mr.
incompetence. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hold it right now. The article is whether or not we should zero out the planning board, actually right now it's the zoning board of appeals, not the planning board. And the only thing you should be discussing is the budget. You know.
Right.
The only thing you will be discussing is the budget.
Okay. The budget should be zeroed out because this board is not serving us well. In one case, a landowner offered us nearly 5 acres of land, and we didn't. It wasn't not brought to town meeting.
Mr. Lucchesi, that's not a point of order. That's a point of argument, please. Ms. McCreary?
Yes.
You need to stick to the budget, not to the actions of the board, any of these boards have taken in the past, but what is the reason for zeroing out their budget and keep it on budget terms?
Okay, the reason for zeroing out budget is we do not need this, a budget for the ZBA.
Please stand, sir, and state your point of order. There's a fine line to tread, and I'm going to ask you to try to keep it on budget terms. Okay?
Okay.
And right now, remember, you're only discussing the zoning board at this point. You are not discussing the planning board.
Okay, I'm discussing the zoning board because it's very closely related to the planning board. It has the same administrator, and the administrator has not been serving the town.
Mr. Lucchesi. I'm getting there.
Okay. You know, perhaps the town can decide based on what I've said. I move that we
You've already moved
reduce,
it.
right.
Mr. McCreary, you've already moved it.
Okay.
Mr. Maxon.
There's precedent for this exact sort of discussion. Several years ago, we had a full-time building commissioner, like very little to do and all they could do it. Made himself a nuisance around town. This exact motion was made about his budget, and there was adequate discussion.
Actually, you were in error there. The budget was never zeroed out. It was not.
That's why we have a part-time building, now it was zeroed out.
Yes. Please stand. Please stand.
Does the budget only go to salary?
No, it goes to everything. All the,
Could I find out how much of the money goes to salary and what goes?
Mr. Hood? Remember, this is just the zoning board. Oh, Lisa? Yes. $17,275 goes to salary? Okay. Yes, sir.
Susan Tordella, Hedgeway. I would like to speak in support of this motion because Ms. McCreary has said we are paying for something and not receiving top quality service. So I speak in support of this motion to make it, to zero it out. And if Mr. Maxon could find out when this occurred, that would be also useful.
My name is Jane Morris, and I want to ask a question pertinent to the budget. How much has this has the person cost the town in legal fees and lost opportunities? Thank you.
Any further discussion? Mr. Pomprian, do you have any, is there an answer to that? Mr. Pomprian.
Mr. Moderator, through you, the question, what was the question again? The costs of?
What has this person cost the town, I believe is trying to do by saying on budget, in terms of budget, how much does this person cost the town?
Town council is indicating that, through you.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, I understand where we're going with, and the caution I am urging is town meeting doesn't, for better or for worse, doesn't get into issues of performance of individual staff persons. So the reason we're talking about sticking to the budget is because whether or not town meeting believes that an individual performed or didn't perform, we're talking about the overall budget for that department, for its staff, for its administrative, as well as its expenses. And so if the issue of whether an individual costs the town money or not gets into complicated issues as to very specifics on certain projects and certain litigation, and whether you can hold the individual accountable is not even the subject of the litigation that may have been involved. That's why we're talking specifically about the budget and not about the individual. So ultimately it becomes a value question as to whether town meeting believes that they're getting value from that department overall.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Rezaje.
Quick question. Are these members of this board appointed or elected?
The zoning board is appointed.
Is appointed. The planning board?
Is elected.
May I ask that question? I don't know if I don't want to be out of place. So my thought would be, are we looking, by zeroing this out, to eliminate this service totally, or should we then be going to the administrators of our town to address this in that forum, not here at Town Hall? Do we want a zoning board of appeals? Do we want a planning board? If there are issues with these individuals, I feel it should be taken to our town leaders or to the polling place.
Mr. Moderator, how would we request a report for the lost opportunities and income from this position in the last couple of years?
Again, that's a personnel board, the personnel issue that we cannot discuss at town meeting.
Can we request the personnel board look into this?
I can request the selectmen to do it, and they're the appointing authority for the zoning board.
My name's Bob Williams. I live on 5 Hedgeway, and I retired a year and a half ago from contracting business in town, so I did have to deal with the office of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And I got to say, I don't think it's worth a penny my experience with this board, because While the members of the board are just fine, the administration of their decisions has not been fine. It cost me 2 days worth of lost work because improper paperwork was provided to me to register at the Middlesex Registry of Deeds. I walk into the office and there's nobody there when there should be there during office hours. I've walked into the office and the administration of the Zoning Board of Appeals person is not doing town business, is doing real estate transactions on the computer, as best as I could tell, or raising money for a fundraiser, but not town business. So from my standpoint, I would view this as being a good item to save the town some money. So I would support zeroing out this.
Mr. Hurley.
If we zero out the budget, then we don't have a ZBA, right?
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's true.
Aren't we required by... Don't usually need it. My thought is, if we zero out the budget, then we don't have a ZBA. And they can't operate without a budget. So all the work that they do or don't do would come to a standstill until a new ZBA is in place, and I think by law we're required to have this.
Mr. Pontbriand.
Just to clarify on the motion that's been made and seconded through you on the table is to zero out the salary of the ZBA administrator. The supplies for the ZBA are still in the budget, and to answer the gentleman's question, the Zoning Board of Appeals is appointed by the Board of Selectmen, so they would still be an existing board.
Actually, I believe the motion was to zero out the 18,000.
Okay.
Entire amount, so that would...
Okay, all right. I stand corrected. But the zoning board was...
Ms. Connolly.
Mr. Moderator, question for Mr. Rich, if I might. The position that the salary applies to is a contract position. So if I understand contract law, the contract has to be funded regardless of who is in the position, and to zero it out may potentially violate the contract. Same goes for the planning board situation. And it's a question, a sentence in a question.
Mr. Rich, do you have an answer for it?
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Moderator, through you. If there's an outstanding contract, and I understand that this is a contract position, and it is unfunded, that may well constitute a violation of the contract, and that has consequences as well. But town meeting ultimately approves or disapproves funds, so that the consequences of that would be borne by the town.
Any further discussion? Ms. Morris.
My name is Jane Morris. I'm at 62 Pleasant Street, and I want to ask, in the same vein as the contract, what is the liability that the town incurs when minutes are not posted in a timely manner for years and years, and proper procedures are not followed? What does that cost the town as far as a breach of contract?
Mr. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I don't know what the specifics are of the contract, but obviously the town is obligated under law to maintain minutes, to post its meetings, to undertake all of those obligations. The town is exposed to liability under the open meeting law and the public records law if it fails to maintain those minutes and those records. So in terms of liability, it's kind of hard to assess other than to say that failure to maintain and post minutes, failure to post meetings could constitute violation of law.
Any further discussion? Ms. McCreary.
I would like to add that the Zoning Board of Appeals is made up of volunteers except for the administrator, and we do have a volunteer in town who will do the administrative duties. So the Zoning Board of Appeals will remain intact.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of amending this to 0, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. I'm going to ask for a standing count. It's too close to call. Could I ask Mr. Miller and Mr. Swanfeld to please come up? Okay, just before we start counting the votes, all the chairs on the left-hand side here are the wooden chairs along the wall. That's a non-voting section, so if you're a voter and you're in that section, you need to move into the main section before you can vote, okay? So all those in favor of amending this to 0, please stand. All those opposed to changing it to 0, please stand. In the affirmative, 54. In the negative, 20. The Zoning Board of Appeals has changed to 0 budget. Next one passed over is Planning Board.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. McCreary.
I move that the budget for the Planning Board be reduced to 0 as well.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to 0 out the Planning Board from $19,081 to 0. Any discussion? Mr. Swanfeld.
Mr. Moderator, I would just like to reiterate what Pauline Connolly had stated on contracts. Be advised, this is a union position, and through their contract, it cannot be filled with a volunteer, whoever else you may decide that you want to put in there until their contract's obligated.
Any further discussion? Mr. Pontbriand?
Mr. Moderator, as general practice, the town engages in 3-year contracts with the unions. In the case of this position, which is classified under the AFSCME 93 contract, the 3-year contract expires on June 30th of 2014.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of zeroing out the Planning Board budget, please say aye. Those opposed? No. I think the ayes have it. Okay. Ms. Connolly questions the vote. Okay, please have my 2 counters up here again. And you're still under oath. Okay. All those in favor of zeroing out the Planning Board, please stand and hold your card. All those opposed to zeroing out the planning board, please stand. Those in the affirmative, 51. Those in the negative, 18. And the planning board's budget is zeroed out. Next item passed over was information technology at $115,897.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Bedertha?
again, can I ask why this is so much?
Mr. Pombrian?
Mr. Moderator, through you, on the information technology line item, you see a 18% increase in the request. In the notes, one is, these are one-time costs. One is the Windows 9 operating system upgrade, to upgrade all of the town's computers to the current operating system is $7,000. The ADA compliance, the American with Disabilities Act compliance, this is for the town's website and Facebook page to be ADA compliant for the hearing impaired or the visually impaired. And then the replacement of the printer scanner for the town administrator's office and the Windows 8 for the IT administrator. Again, these are software and hardware upgrades, and the new network server contract in the amount of $10,000 is to update the town's network server, which includes enhanced, in addition to enhanced processing, enhanced security features, and so forth. So again, these are one-time costs at this time. And Mr. Moderator, through you to the IT Director, I may have missed something.
Hi.
Ms. Knox?
Hello. I would just like to clarify what the $10,000 is actually for. It is to maintain our server that we're hoping to buy, which will provide maintenance for the town hall, the DPW, and the fire station at $200 an hour when things go wrong. And we're doing more and more online processing and in the cloud processing. So what we're hoping to do is to contract with somebody to take care of it and keep it in good running order.
Is that in-house $200 an hour? Is that for you?
No, that's not for me. That's for a network expert.
Who would do that work?
We use CTP out of Quincy right now, but we'd probably go out to bid on it.
That's a lot of money.
It is. It's actually for, what we're hoping to do is put in one central server for all 3 locations, and there would actually be 6 servers inside of one using a virtual server.
That would save a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Any further discussion? Okay, then now let me just, Lisa, do you have the math on the total with that zero? Chris, you're making the motion on that, right? Mr. Moderator? I'll Lisa give me the minute, the amount first. It'll be as amended. Let's grant it over here.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Hillman.
I make a motion that we move Article 5, the omnibus budget, as amended, to $11,760,637.
Any discussion? Ms. Connolly? I asked, but nobody stood up. Yep. Okay. The motion on the floor is to accept the omnibus article as amended. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. The omnibus is adopted.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Pombrian.
Through you, just for a point of order, on the passage of the omnibus, the funding source for the omnibus is through taxation. Just to clarify the identification of the funding source.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Maxon? Mr. Maxon? Mr. Maxon, that article has already been passed and it's done with. Mr. Maxon, please, we're moving on.
I want to say the Finance Committee is the biggest bargain we have on this omnibus. Okay. They are absolutely tireless. They are probably the busiest, hardest working, and most effective committee in town. We need to thank them for having brought us to this point.
Okay, Article 6, FY Fiscal Year 2015 Regional School Assessment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $9,365,752 required to fund the town's fiscal year 2015 assessment for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $1,115,018 for the town's portion of the Ayer Shirley Regional School District High School Building Project debt service, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move Article 6 as read by the moderator.
It's been moved and seconded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds. Actually, I know what you're going to say. Actually, in this one here, it has to be either raise and appropriate or to transfer from available funds. It cannot be both. You have to specify.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Is it raise and appropriate or you transfer?
Sorry, it's hot in here. What am I reading? Okay.
Read the whole thing.
I move to Article 6 to raise and appropriate or transfer available funds. No, what am I doing? I can't hear you.
Okay. That's never been said before.
I know.
It's either raise and appropriate or to transfer available funds. You can't do both.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you for the current item. Mr. Moderator.
Ms. Livingston.
I move Article 6 as read by the moderator to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,365,752. Did I get it right that time?
And the second part?
And the second part. Required to fund the town's FY 2015 assessment for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,015,018 for the town's... Is everybody okay? Okay. For the town's portion of the Ayer Shirley Regional School District High School Building Project debt service, or take any action therein or relation thereto.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,365,752 for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District fiscal year 2015 assessment, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,015,018 for the town's portion of the Ayer Shirley Regional School District High School Building Project debt service. Is there any discussion? Ms. Bedurtha, she's already up. Dan, you want?
Mr. Moderator, I would like to know if any of this money will be used for an operating budget, or is it a capital expense?
Mr. Gleason.
Hi, everybody. Dan Gleason, one of the Ayer members of the Regional School Committee. The first amount of the assessment does go towards the operating budget. The second part is for the debt on the high school project that is currently underway. So the larger number is operating, the smaller 1 million plus number is debt. Okay. Mr. Moderator, with your permission, there's a brief presentation about the school budget.
Very quick.
Before I go into the presentation, just quickly want to recognize two people. We are about to lose our superintendent, Mr. Carl Mock. He's been with us since the formation of the region. He was handed a plan that he did not participate in, a budget he did not help develop, but yet he flawlessly executed on that for the last 3 years and helped get the region off the ground and bring it to where it is right now, which is in a very good place with a lot of great momentum. So I just want to recognize Carl in his retirement. And I think Carl was the right guy at the right time for the 3 years that just passed, and I think we have a great person and a great woman in Mary Malone, the current Assistant Superintendent of Haverhill. She's joined us tonight to observe town meeting, and Mary will start July 1st. Thanks. All right, so into the presentation, I'm going to go quick. I tend to talk fast anyway, and I know it's warm, and we've got only about 30 more articles to get to, so it's going to be a late night, I think. And hopefully the moderator is open to removing this meeting back up to the high school when the auditorium is completed, which should happen around September, and we can have fall town meeting in an air-conditioned, nice facility that you guys can then see what your money paid for and the $1 million that you're approving tonight, hopefully. All right, so this is a quick presentation. The school committee actually certified a budget on March 19th. We have to actually, 45 days before the first town meeting of the member towns, we have to certify a budget that we're going to ask you to approve. That budget can only come down between March 19th and this particular town meeting in Shirley's in early June. It cannot go up, so we're working from an incomplete set of information on March 19th as far as what the state budget's going to be and various other factors that go into putting a school budget together. So it's based on the best information we have at the time, based on where the governor's budget proposal was and what we think based on last year's expenses, what next year's expenses will be. And that general fund budget amount we approved is a total of $25,076,510. Total budget of all funds is almost $28 million. The delta in that is basically some revolving funds that the school raises, so athletic receipts. There's certain grants like our Title I federal grant, which is based on how many free and reduced lunch students we have and how many minorities and things of that factor. The federal government grants you some money. So there's some other funds that are not in the general fund that is the account for the delta between the two. The general budget fund is mostly Chapter 70 school aid from the state, as well as the assessment amounts that Ayer and Shirley provide to us. And that total assessment that's between the two towns, total, not your portion this evening, the two towns total of in the assessment will be $16,500,000+. The debt part of this is for the high school project. So roughly, I don't know, about 18 months ago, the voters approved overwhelmingly to renovate and build up at the high school facility. That debt is now kicking in, we're beginning to pay, so the debt exclusion article that was approved is now taking hold, so your tax bills will start to reflect this amount, so that's what the capital debt excluded amount is tonight. That is the Ayer portion of that, and then there's Shirley's portion. The asterisk basically just means that because also the voters of Ayer graciously, because we do have actually more Ayer students in the middle school now than Shirley does, we have bought into the debt of the middle school that Shirley initially built, similar to how you guys voted last year when you entered into the Neshoba Regional Vocational Technical School District to buy into some debt that they currently had. So similar concept, you guys approved that. Shirley's amount in the early phases of this is very small, therefore the amount of Ayer is paying in actually leaves them a bit of a surplus, and we've set up an account that they have decided to apply a $13,640 amount every year for about the next 13 years to defray their costs on that Shirley's portion amount. If you added that back in, right, they'd be up about $380. So very quickly, the initial budget that we had proposed, the administration proposed to the school committee in January was actually quite a bit higher. We have many needs that I won't go into, but I'll show you some on a slide. You can read them at your leisure, and I'll get this to Cindy to post on the town website. Just in the interest of time, we'll go quickly. So we were looking initially at about a 5.5% general fund increase. Total budget would increase about 5%, and the assessments would go up about 8.9. What we ultimately, after working with the towns and understanding our revenues and cost situation a little better, is we reduced that amount. So instead of 1.25 million, we're looking to increase the general fund by 944,000, all funds 978,000, and the assessment will go up 900,000, a 6.3% increase over last year. So these are things that we took out that are actually needs identified by the staff and the administration. Again, I won't go into them in the interest of time tonight, but there are things we need, and we're going to come back and look for them in future years. But for the interest of working with the towns and their financial constraints, we were able to whittle this stuff out, and we'll make another plan for next year. The two items that are in the certified budget that are new, so basically all we're asking for is what we're doing this year, level service, plus these two positions. That's what's in this budget. And the two positions, the first one is actually pretty much a no-brainer. This is a special education program at the high school that currently has about 11 students in it. We have 11 eighth graders who are going to come in next year and double the needs in that program. Therefore, we need another teacher. If we don't put a teacher in, we outplace them to an outplacement service at probably 4 to 5 times the cost of hiring the teacher. So financially, it just makes sense. Even though it's an addition to the staff, it makes perfect financial sense to do so. And then we need one classroom teacher at Page Hilltop. We've been juggling teachers around between the two elementary schools the last couple of years based on where enrollments are kind of peaks and valleys. Different classes are bigger and smaller. We're able to move people around. But enrollment is trending up. We're at 4 sections for every class, and some are 5. And we're probably going to need, based on kindergarten enrollments the last few years, to keep 5 teachers in each classroom going forward. So we can't juggle anymore. We're at enrollment part where we just, that option does not exist. So we really need to hire one full-time teacher at the elementary school. Cost of those items, including benefits, is $134,000. So, again, this is just a summary of what I just went through as far as what the assessment looked like in January and the original. Certified line item is the amount we reduced it, and those are the reduced amounts to each town. So to Ayer was initially $680, we're down $234,000 to $446 as the increased amount, not the total you're voting on tonight. That's the increase over last year. Obviously, our recommendation would be that you vote in favor of this assessment. Again, as read in the article, those are the amounts. The Selectmen and the Finance Committee have recommended approval of this as well. And unless there's any questions, I'll turn this back over to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any further discussion? Ms. Bedertha.
Mr. Moderator, Shirley isn't quite happy with us because their operating budget, they've got it down to bare bones. We're at a 6% increase. Don't see how that's fair, especially when they don't have the money. The question I am having today is if they can't bring that money to fruition, what are you going to do?
Mr. Gleason.
I don't know if it's inappropriate to discuss what Shirley may or may not do. They're their own entity. They have their own town meeting, and we continue to discuss what our assessment request is versus what they're saying their needs are in their town side. So I can't speak for what Shirley may or may not do. There is a process laid out by Chapter 71 Regional School Law that if they say no at their town meeting, it comes back to us. Within, I can't remember the exact time frames, I think 30 days, we are either free to not do anything or to amend the budget to some amount. Again, it has to be less. We can't at this point raise the budget, has to be less. We can send it back to their town meeting. They again would either approve what we send back, which again could be unamended or could be amended, depends on what the school committee decides to do. At that point, if they say no again, it goes to a super town meeting where the Ayer and Shirley towns come into one, where it's one person, one vote. And if that were to pass, or if it passes at any point in time, even if the town leaders recommend no and town meeting says yes, they're going to have to figure out a way to pay for it. But that's up to the town of Shirley.
Any further discussion? There being none. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,365,752 to fund the town's fiscal year 2015 assessment for the Ayer Shirley Regional School District, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,015,018 for the town's portion of the Ayer Shirley Regional School District High School Building Project debt service. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. It's passed. Article 7, fiscal year 2015 Neshoba Valley Technical Vocational School Assessment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $583,059 required to fund the fiscal year 2015 assessment for the Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote, raise, and appropriate the sum of $583,059 required to fund the FY 2015 assessment for the Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School, take any action thereon. In relation thereto, I'd like to yield to Superintendent Klimkowitz.
I don't have a second yet.
Huh?
I don't have a second. Second, okay. And
I'd like to yield to Superintendent Klimkowitz.
Superintendent?
Good evening. I'll try to talk as fast as you, Mr. Gleason, but I'm not sure I can. Very quickly, I'd like to say how excited I am to be here. Once again, I'm very excited to have Ayer part of our district. You've always truly been a member, but now you're official. I think some of your Board of Selectmen are happy because you became a member, your cost actually went down. So that's good news during these fiscally tough times. This is just a year in review. For you, we expanded our engineering academy. We awarded a second biotech grant. We have constructed and hopefully will complete by graduation our new sports complex, which you helped to contribute to build. It did not cost any one of our district towns a dime. So we're excited about that, and it is something that will directly benefit all students, including those from Ayer. We also completed the renovation of the Early Learning Center Country Kitchen and the Dance and Art Studio that is being constructed by our students and hopefully will be completed by the end of the spring of 2014. We completed a stone wall and an herb garden surrounding the atrium and the restaurant in which they will grow the herbs and use them in the restaurant. We increased the power supply, the expansion of the video, and additional security systems. Again, we continue to upgrade, and I think I heard someone speak earlier about the XP, and many of us having to upgrade our technology because of the change in the operating systems. We also continue the expansion of the replacement of the exterior doors, which is part of our completion of our 10-year plan, as well as Lowell 5 ATM. We are the first high school that has a drive-up ATM, 24/7. Basically, just some facts. NVTH averages about 98% of the students go on to post-secondary training of some kind, apprenticeships, 2-year programs or 4-year programs. We also had a zero dropout rate for 2010, 2011, and 2012. Some other interesting facts. NVTHS had 100% passage of MCAS for the past 10 years, and for the classes of 2013, 14, and 15, we had 100% passage of English language arts on the first try. Thank you. We have a staff member here who should probably get the applause. He's one of our teachers, Mr. Becker. Okay, also 99% of the students passed math on the very first try. And again, NVTHS is the only technical school with 7 approved advanced classes, advanced placement classes. NVTHS is also the only technical school that requires the theater arts, music, foreign language, and a soon-to-open dance and art studio, which will expand our theater arts program. And finally, NVTHS is the only level 1 district among its member towns. Out of 29 regional vocational schools, we are still very proud to be the lowest priced per student out of the 29. I'd say we get a pretty good bang for the buck. If anybody has had the pleasure of coming to Neshoba, I see some students in the room, graduates. But also, I think if you come to the building, you'll see how, I think what you'll characteristically see in most regional vocational schools is the care that can be taken of the building, primarily by its own students, because we are at a certain advantage to be able to do a lot of our own construction in the facility. This is our budget. The major growth factors this year, out of the last 5 years, we level serviced and level funded our budget. It was last year and this year that we went over minimum. And again, it was because we experienced another 7% growth. We have been growing annually by anywhere between 5 to 10%. That is our 5-year capital plan. We will be replacing the gym floor this year. It is 45 years old, has served us well, and it's about time when the nails start to show, it's time to replace the floor. And we will also try to replace the bleachers at the same time if we can get a good enough price. This is the assessment for the towns. Again, we are proud to say that unlike many of the technical schools, we have a fair distribution of our student loads. So we have at least 3 large towns, 3 to 4 large towns, and 3 to 4 small towns. And they average anywhere between 7 to 11%. And that's it for the budget.
Thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $583,059 for the fiscal year 2015 assessment for the Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School. Is there any further discussion on it? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. Okay. Mr. Sullivan, you have a point of order?
Connie Sullivan, 79 East Main Street. I'd like to make a motion to reconsider Article 5, which is the omnibus budget article.
Mr. Sullivan is making a motion to reconsider Article 5. Were you on the prevailing side, sir?
I was, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. A motion to reconsider is a non-debatable motion. It requires a 2/3 vote. All in favor of reconsidering Article 5, the omnibus article, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed to reconsidering Article 5, please say aye. Aye. Did I say? Let me read. Those in favor of reconsidering Article 5, the omnibus article, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Those opposed to reconsideration of Article 5, please say aye. Okay. The motion is not agreed to. It is not reconsidered. Article 8, fiscal year 2015, Neshoba Valley Technical Vocational School, Ayer's portion of the accelerated roof repair project borrow. To see if the town will approve the sum of $2,802,362 borrowing authorized by the Neshoba Valley Technical High School District for the purposes of paying costs of the accelerated roof repair project of the Neshoba Valley Technical High School located at 100 Littleton Road, Westford, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. The project, which proposed repair project, would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the district may be eligible for a school construction grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. Said amount to be expended at the direction of the Neshoba Valley Technical School Committee. The MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA. And any project costs the district incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district and its member municipalities. Any grant of the district may receive from the MSBA for the project shall not exceed the lesser of 1, 52.26% of eligible approved project costs as determined by MSBA, or 2, the total maximum grant amount determined by MSBA. The amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement and project funding agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to approve the sum of $2,802,362 for the purposes of the accelerated roof repair as outlined by the moderator.
Been moved and seconded to approve the sum of $2,802,362 in borrowing for the accelerated roof repair project of North Neshoba Valley Technical High School, as read by me. Ms. Bedertha.
Mr. Moderator, I'm very happy to hear that they level funded, but in Article 7, we give them $500,000. Why are we required to pay for the roof?
Superintendent.
Part of the problem here is what you will see is due to the extent of the actual warrant article that must be the same in every town, that technically you are voting the whole total amount of borrowing, which is the 2.8. Out of that, you will only bond 1.4, and of that, by the way, those are the two sections of the roof. Those were the ones that were not included in the original project because of the fact that they were done in 94 and 97, and they were still under warranty when the original project in 2002 to 2005 were done. So if you see here, this breaks us down, if you don't mind me moving over, I can't see that far. But annually, it will be broken down by the assessment on October 1, so you will be charged at proportion to the population you have in the building each year annually. So for example, if we are floating 47.24% in a bond of interest at 4.5%, and I hopefully will do better than that, the amount of the bond is $1.39 million. Years 10, bond per year, your enrollment would be 7.35%. So for this year, which it won't be this year, it would be next year, your cost would be $10,271. So unfortunately, I find that the warrant article itself is very confusing, but what you are actually being asked to do is to give us permission to bond the whole amount.
Any further discussion? Ms. Bedertha.
Did you apply for a grant?
Yes, and we got 52.26%. So this remainder will be 47.74%.
Are these monies going to be in perpetuity as long as we have a contract with you?
Well, I would assume, I think the Massachusetts School Building Authority, once they grant the money, at least I found them never to go back on their word as long as you actually fulfill all their obligations.
Okay, thanks.
Any further discussion? There being none. Article 8, to see if the town will vote the sum of $2,800,362 in borrowing authorized by the Neshoba Valley Technical School District for the purpose of paying the accelerated roof repair costs for the Neshoba Valley Technical High School, as read by me. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Okay. Article 9, enterprise funds. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the solid waste department. Direct costs of $382,183, of which $204,240 is to come from solid waste revenue, $38,719 is to come from solid waste surplus, free cash, and $139,179 is to come from the tax levy, and indirect costs of $109,710 to come from the tax levy, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
It's not been moved yet, Mr.
Just a point of clarification.
As before.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move to see the town will vote to raise and appropriate, am I reading the right one? Yeah. And transfer $38,719 from solid waste surplus with the following funds to operate the solid waste department. And I believe we have a correction on the direct costs is what, of $382,138.
138 instead of 183 is transposed. Okay. Everybody understand that the first, on the direct cost there, the number was transposed. It should say $382,138. Okay. Has it been seconded? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to see if the town will raise and appropriate from available funds the following funds to operate the solid waste department. Direct costs of $382,138, of which $204,240 is to come from solid waste revenues. $38,719 is to come from solid waste surplus, free cash, and $139,179 is to come from the tax levy, and indirect costs of $109,710 is to come from tax levy. Is there any discussion? Ms. Bedurtha.
Okay. So again, it's a lot of money. Does anybody have an explanation for that?
I did not hear a question there. I heard you
Oh.
make a statement. I didn't hear a question.
Yep. I would like to know why this is so much money.
Mr. Pombrian.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Bedurtha's question on Article 9, Solid Waste Enterprise. The question is why the amount of $382,138. This article, the money set forth in it is to fund the operations of the transfer station up on the hill, which includes the salary and benefits of the personnel, as well as the equipment, as well as the various contracts and or service agreements that the Division of Solid Waste may be engaged in. So again, this is to run the transfer station that basically services a majority of the town. And if you look at the funding of this transfer station through the solid waste article over a period of time, it's in line with the town's forecast and projections moving forward.
Okay, I would just like to make a comment. Since we're funding this for a whole lot of money, I think they should be opened past 2 o'clock.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of Article 9, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is passed. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the ambulance department. Direct costs of $106,479 is to come from the ambulance revenue, and indirect costs of $326,091, of which $282,184 is to come from the ambulance revenue, and $43,907 from ambulance surplus, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and transfer $43,907 from ambulance surplus. The following funds that operate the ambulance department: direct cost of $106,479 is to come from the ambulance revenue, and an indirect cost of $326,091, of which $282,184 is to come from ambulance revenue, and $43,907 from ambulance surplus.
It's been moved and seconded. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and transfer from available funds the following funds to operate the ambulance department. Direct costs of $106,479 from the ambulance revenue, and indirect costs of $326,091, of which $282,184 is to come from ambulance revenue, and $43,907 from ambulance surplus. Any discussion on the matter? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed. Article 11, sewer. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds or from retained earnings of the following funds to operate the sewer department. Direct costs of $2,309,701, of which $2,284,032 is to come from sewer revenue, and $25,669 is to come from the tax levy, and indirect costs of $315,312, of which $300,312 is to come from sewer revenue, and $25,000 is to come from sewer surplus, free cash, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds or from retained earnings the following funds to operate the sewer department. Direct costs, $2,309,701, of which $2,284,032 is to come from the sewer revenue, $25,669 is to come from the tax levy, and indirect costs of $315,312, of which $300,312 is to come from the sewer revenue. And there's a correction here, that's why I wanted to read the whole thing. And $15,000 is to come from the sewer surplus free cash, or to take action thereon or relation thereto.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. See if the town will raise and appropriate and transfer retained funds from the following funds to operate the sewer department. Direct costs of $2,309,701, of which $2,284,032 is to come from sewer revenue, and $25,669 is to come from tax levy, and indirect costs of $315,312, of which $300,312 is to come from sewer revenue, and $15,000 is to come from sewer surplus free cash. Any discussion on the matter? Ms. Bedurtha.
2 or 3 more questions, and I'll be done for the night. Okay. I wanted to ask you, and we review this every year, have you tried to renegotiate with Devon's? Because we are not using a full capacity. We are wasting money year after year. I hear you talk about it every year. Nothing is done about it. I want to put a pin in it and ask you when you're going to do it.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Pombrian.
Through you to Ms. Bedurtha's question, yes, through a formal vote of the Ayer Board of Selectmen at their last meeting in April based on the recommendations of the Sewer and Water Rate Review Committee, they issued a formal request in writing to negotiate that issue of excess capacity with Devon's, and in the letter gave them 30 days, them being Mass Development, to formally respond to the town. That date will be May 26th that we will hear back from them. And through you, Mr. Moderator, if Ms. Bedurtha would like, or we can probably put on the town's website that letter with all of the supporting data for the public.
Okay, that's the first step. What's the second step?
Mr. Moderator, through you, the first step would be to formally request to Mass Development that we renegotiate specifically the issues of capacity and flow pertaining to their facility. The intent of the town, which has been public knowledge for quite some time, is to amend the agreement, reducing those flows and capacity levels, thus to a savings to the town.
Okay, Mr. Moderator, one more question. If you do that, can we renegotiate the money?
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Bedurtha, in the event that the town is successful in renegotiating that, those savings respectfully would be reflected in the FY16 article that would come before town meeting. In other words, the Rate and Review Committee and so forth would do its work. Any savings that the town would realize would be factored into the establishment of the sewer rate. So you would hopefully see that when we convene next year at this time.
Okay. During the course of your meetings, could you please update us on TV about this issue?
Mr. Moderator, through you, I
Mr.
will
Moderator.
ask that the Board of Selectmen do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and transfer from retained earnings the following funds to operate the sewer department. Direct cost of $2,309,701, of which $2,284,032 is to come from sewer revenue, and $25,669 is to come from tax levy, and indirect costs of $315,312, of which $300,312 has come from sewer revenue, and $15,000 has come from sewer surplus free cash. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Pass. Article 12, water. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds or from retained earnings the following funds to operate the water department. Direct cost of $1,713,866, of which $1,599,676 is to come from water revenue, and $114,190 is to come from tax levy, and indirect costs of $228,128, of which $68,006 is to come from water revenue, and $160,122 is to come from water surplus free cash, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
I thought I heard somebody said second. I got confused. Mr. Moderator?
Ms. Livingston.
I move to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and transfer $160,122 from water surplus the following funds to operate the water department. The direct cost of $1,713,866, of which $1,599,676 is to come from the water revenue, $114,190 is to come from the tax levy, an indirect cost of $228,128, of which $68,006 is to come from water revenue, and $160,122 is to come from the water surplus, free cash, or take any action therein or relation thereto.
Okay, moved and seconded. See if town will raise and appropriate and transfer from available funds or retained earnings the following funds to operate the water department. $1,713,866, of which $1,599,676 is come from water revenue, and $114,190 is come from tax levy, and indirect costs of $228,128, of which $68,006 is to come from water revenue, and $160,122 is to come from water surplus free cash. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. Article 13, stormwater. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds or from retained earnings the following funds to operate the stormwater department. Direct cost of $100,500, of which $100,500 is to come from tax levy, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Mr. Luca.
Vote to move to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the following funds to operate the stormwater department. Direct cost of $100,500, of which $100,500 is to come from the tax levy. And that's it.
Is there a second? Okay. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following funds to operate this stormwater department. Direct costs of $100,500, of which $100,500 is come from the tax levy. Is there any discussion?
Lori Nearing, Mr. Moderator. I didn't know if this was a new line item, and I was wondering if it is, if we could have a little explanation, or if this is in line with things we've been needing in the past. Is there some new regulation that's requiring stormwater issues?
Mr. Pombrian.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Nearing's question. Actually, we have had this line item before town meeting. As many are aware, and some are not, the stormwater regulations set forth by the EPA and the DEP necessitated action by the previous DPW superintendent and the current DPW superintendent to work on establishing a comprehensive stormwater plan for the town of Ayer. Town meeting in 2011 authorized the creation of the Stormwater Fund, and the Board of Selectmen appointed a Stormwater Committee that is currently concluding their work on the recommended rates to the Board of Selectmen. When they complete that work, the stormwater rates will be presented to the Board of Selectmen. There will also be a public hearing for the implementation of those rates. And finally, those rates, as far as the review of them, just like the water and sewer rates, the stormwater rates would become part of the rate review committee on an annual basis. This funding that is being requested for the stormwater enterprise will be used to implement the stormwater program and various costs associated with it. Mr. Moderator, through you,
Mr. Pomperian.
The question from Ms. Nearing was, is this would be used for consultants? Some of this may be used for specialized consultants on stormwater. Some of it may also be used for catch basin improvements and so forth. It would be anything related to the implementation of the stormwater program.
Any further discussion? Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following funds to operate the stormwater department. Direct cost of $100,500, of which $100,500 come from tax levy. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is passed. Okay. Article 14, Communications Fund.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
Mr. Moderator, I would like to make a motion to recommend the moving Articles 14 through 19 together by consent.
It's been moved and seconded to move Articles 14 through 19 as one. Is there any discussion or any objections? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Okay. I'll read them and then. Okay. Article 14, Communications Fund. To see if the town will vote to authorize a revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of supporting the town website, printing and mailing of various newsletters, and other townwide informational mailings from the Communication Committee. Receipts to be credited to the account shall be revenues from ads placed in said mailings and on the town website. The Communication Committee is authorized to expend monies from this account. In no event shall total expenditures for the Communications Revolving Fund exceed $20,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation by the town in the most recent fiscal year for which a tax rate has been certified under Section 23, Chapter 59, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Okay. Article 15, Fire Department Fund. To see if the town will vote to reauthorize a revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of fire alarm repairs and replacement. Receipts to be credited to the account shall be the fire alarm box assessment fees and fines for needless and false alarms. The fire chief is authorized to expend monies from this fund. In no event shall total expenditures from the fire alarm revolving account exceed $35,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation of the town in the most recent fiscal year for which a tax rate has been certified under Section 23 of Chapter 59, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Article 16, Hazardous Waste Fund. To see if the town will vote to reauthorize a revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of hazardous waste materials expense replacement. All receipts from the hazmat incident shall be from billed services and will be used for replacement of supplies and expenses. The fire chief will be authorized to expend monies from this fund. In no event shall total expenditures from the hazmat revolving account exceed $10,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation by the town in the most recent fiscal year for which tax rate has been certified under Section 23 of Chapter 59, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Article 17, 4th of July Fund. To see if the town will vote to reauthorize the revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of the 4th of July revolving fund. Receipts to be credited to the account shall be from vendor fees and shall be used for purchasing and promoting the event. The 4th of July Committee, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to expend monies from this fund. In no event shall total expenditures for the 4th of July revolving fund exceed $25,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation by the town in the most recent fiscal year for which tax rate has been certified under Section 23 of Chapter 59, take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Article 18, DPW Inspection Fees Fund. To see if the town will vote to reauthorize a revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of a Department of Public Works inspection revolving fund. Receipts to be credited to the fund shall be from development fees or contributions, and shall be used for the purpose of funding inspections of road construction, drainage facilities, and water sewer line installations. The Superintendent of Public Works shall be authorized to expend money from this fund. In no event shall total expenditures from the Department of Public Works Inspection Revolving Fund exceed $100,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation by the town in the most recent fiscal year for which tax rate has been certified under Section 23 of Chapter 59, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Article 19, Town Hall Maintenance Fund. To see if the town will vote to reauthorize a revolving fund pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the purpose of a town hall maintenance fund. Receipts to be credited to the fund shall be from fees assessed for use of town hall facilities, and may be used for costs related to operation, maintenance, repair, and/or reconstruction of town hall and its grounds. The Board of Selectmen shall be authorized to expend money from this fund. In no event shall total expenditures from the Town Hall Maintenance Fund exceed $10,000 in fiscal year 2015, and provided further that no board, director, department, or officer shall be authorized to expend in any one fiscal year from all revolving funds under its direct control more than 1% of the amount raised by taxation by the town in the most recent fiscal year for which tax rate has been certified under Section 23 of Chapter 59, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Whew. You guys gonna second it? You guys gonna move it? You guys gonna move it? Somebody gonna move it? Okay. Okay. Mr. Maxon. Yes, it has been moved. That's what Mr. Hillman did.
Thank you. Or is this mainly for things that affect the general public, such as the materials the fire department uses to contain oil spills and so on?
Chief Pedrazi?
That revolving fund is for to reimburse for supplies. If we use a hazmat incident, we can bill under Chapter 21E of the general laws, and that fund is where the money would go back into, so we could purchase the supplies that we used at that incident. It has nothing to do with hazardous waste whatsoever.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of Articles 14 through 19, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Ayes have it. Articles 14 to 19 are adopted. Article 20, capital budget requests. To see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow the sums set out in the warrant and hereby listed for the purposes of funding the following equipment, services, and public works projects as contained in the capital budget, each sum hereafter to be voted on separately or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. So we could take this individually. DPW Water Enterprises, Spectacle Pond Corrosion Control Equipment, $50,000. Who's moving?
Sorry.
It says to be done individually, so.
Okay. Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Livingston.
I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer to borrow the sums out of the warrant and hereby listed for the purposes of the funding, this is awful, for the Spectacle Pond Corrosion Control Equipment of $50,000.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to authorize the treasurer to borrow, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow $50,000 for a Spectacle Pond corrosion control equipment. Any discussion? This requires a two-thirds vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It is a unanimous vote, therefore it's two-thirds vote. It is passed. Second item, water main replacements, $153,000. Ms. Livingston.
I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the sums out of the warrant for the water main replacements of $150,000.
So moved and seconded that the treasurer be authorized with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow sums of $150,000 for water main replacements. Is there any discussion? Ms. Connolly.
Would the Board of Selectmen or Finance Committee please advise which water main replacements are being covered by this $150,000? We have several more articles for East Main Street, and I believe this doesn't apply to that.
Mr.
Moderator, through you to Ms. Conley's question, on the water main replacements of $150,000, this was presented to the Capital Planning Committee and recommended by the Capital Planning Committee to the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen, which approved it to put on this warrant. This $150,000 for water main replacements is this particular amount, if approved by town meeting, is to make water main replacements on Pleasant Street. The DPW superintendent came before the Capital Planning Committee and the Board of Selectmen, and his intent is each year to, with the approval of town meeting, to address specific water main replacement areas throughout the town of Ayer. There's about 6 to 7 that have been identified. He's quantifying the need to do it based on various conditions of the water mains. So this would be the Pleasant Street area. This is not, as will come up later, as Ms. Conley mentioned, have to do it East Main Street. So if approved, the $150,000 as of July 1st would be used to make water main replacements on the Pleasant Street, to improve the water quality.
Ms. Connolly.
Mr. Moderator, my memory of Mr. Wetzel's discussions and requests was his number was $250,000. I don't remember when it was reduced to 150, but I do remember specifically asking him if 250 would be enough. And he explained at that point that he would be doing each area of town 1 year at a time. So was there some change in his request?
Mr. Moderator, through you to Ms. Conley's question, that is correct. The original request by the DPW superintendent to the Capital Planning Committee and to the board was for $250,000. The number was reduced to $150,000 when the superintendent was asked if he could address these issues, this particular issue on Pleasant Street, at less than $250,000. Thus, his recommendation is that he can do it for $150,000.
Lisa?
The 100,000 is being taken out of water surplus, so the $250,000 is intact. And we tried to pay for all of it out of water surplus, and it was not going to work, especially given the fact that we don't have a water rate increase this year. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
You're welcome. Any further discussion? So moved and seconded to authorize the treasurer to borrow with the approval of the Board of Selectmen $150,000 for water main replacements. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, therefore it's 2/3 and borrowing is agreed to. Okay. DPW Sewer Enterprise. See if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the sum of $50,000 for meter radio read system. Ms. Livingston.
Mr. Moderator, I vote to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the sum of $50,000 for the meter radio read system.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow $50,000 for the meter radio read system. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, therefore it's 2/3 vote. Okay, final one. To see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the sum of $35,000 for a cardiac monitor for the ambulance.
Mr. Moderator.
Ms. Livingston.
I move to see if the town will authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the amount of $35,000 for the cardiac monitor.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous, therefore it is 2/3. Okay, Article 21. Unexpended balance transfer for East Main Street water mains. To see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $104,911.31 from the reserve for special borrowing account of the water fund and to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the additional sum of $895,088.69 for the replacement of the East Main Street water mains, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $104,911.31 from the reserve for special borrowing account of the water fund and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow the additional sum of $895,088.69 for the replacement of the East Main Street water mains.
It's been moved and seconded to see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $104,911.31 from the reserve for special borrowing account for the water fund and to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow the additional sum of $895,088.69 for the replacement of East Main Street water mains. Is there any discussion? Ms. Bedertha.
Mr. Moderator.
Ms. Bedertha.
I talked to Steve earlier during the week, and I went online to see how we could get money for this. There are several grants out there that we could have got money for. Whether he got the grant money like this lady from Neshoba did, I don't think he did. It would save the town a lot of money. Lexington has done it, Concord, Randolph, Lunenburg is, I think, trying. Littleton's done it. I think before we approve 21 and 22, we need to give him the opportunity to get grant money first. Anybody want to comment?
Mr. Pontbriand.
Mr. Moderator, through you, just for clarification to Ms. Bedertha, your question?
Did he get grant money, and why not, if he didn't?
Yeah, this project, which is put forth, we have applied for a USDA Waterworks grant, infrastructure grant, and we received, as federal grants work, we received a grant in the amount of $25,000 to apply for the grant for this project. So there is grant funding potentially for this. However, the importance of this project is to replace, it's a total project, as you'll see in other articles, to replace the water and sewer mains on East Main Street, which is one of the oldest set of mains that the town has, and is also the main, specifically with water, the main distribution line. Not only is the overall plan to replace the infrastructure under the ground, being the water and the sewer mains, but also when that work is done, is to resurface East Main Street and have streetscape improvements that include ADA compliant sidewalks, lighting where appropriate, vegetation where appropriate. In other words, to do a nice streetscape, if you will, as East Main Street is sort of at least one of the main boulevards into town. Therefore, he's looking for the funding to do this project, but it is important to note that the USDA grant is something that we are pursuing, and we'll look at other grant funding as well.
Don't you think it's premature for us to vote on something that you haven't even applied for a grant?
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Pomprian.
To Ms. Bedurtha, as presented to the Capital Planning Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and the Finance Committee from the DPW Superintendent, East Main Street, the water mains and the sewer mains are very old, and the water specifically is one of our main distribution lines, and it is the opinion of the DPW Superintendent that we need to move forward in replacing both of these mains now for the following reasons. One, to improve water quality, but two, in the event that the main should fail, say hypothetically tonight or at any given point, the cost as opposed to the estimated 1.2 million to do the whole project could be easily double that. And I should add, at the discretion of the moderator, in preparation that he wouldn't be here, the DPW superintendent did prepare a slide on that. But again, there is a direct urgency to replace that infrastructure now in a proactive way as opposed to a costly reactive way.
I don't understand why it would be reactive. Littleton got a huge amount of money for their roads, and why can't we wait till fall or next spring? How long does it take to get grant money?
Mr. Hellman.
If we do get the grants, it will negate or offset the money we have appropriated this evening. So to wait to get the grant and then to come back in 6 months and do this whole process over again is just, we're just wasting time on this process.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I don't want to spend the money on this either. I'm in the heating business. No one wants to replace their furnace.
That's
they turn it
right.
on, it gets warm. Unfortunately, water mains, sewer mains, they're the same thing.
Okay.
And some of these mains are 110 years old.
Yep.
And we're really on borrowed time here, so it really makes sense to appropriate this now. And once the grants are funded, then obviously we may not need the money that we are trying to approve this evening.
The only way I'm going to agree to this evening is if you get the grant money. And I want to know when it is, when you get the grant money, when it's applied for, and how much.
Mr. Pomprian.
Through you to Ms. Bedurtha's question. The USDA grant, as I mentioned, the town of Ayer has received the $25,000 planning grant to apply for the federal grant, and that money has been awarded to the town, and the superintendent is preparing the grant application. Respectfully to Selectman Hillman's point that if this town is successful in securing that grant, then that would offset or negate what we're requesting tonight. And of course, the public would be made aware of that. And the superintendent, as always, will continue to look at other potential grant sources as well. The point that was emphasized is that that particular piece of crucial infrastructure, we are on long overdue borrowed time, and there's never, and I agree with the selectmen, there's never an ideal time to do some of these projects, but its time is long overdue, and the costs of not doing it and waiting longer to be in a reactive sense to it would cost far more.
I did talked to Steve. That is not the only, he can get state and federal funding through applying for grants. If he does it, I need to know that he's going to do it. They did it. They saved a lot of money. So, you know, I'm disappointed that they haven't done this sooner. I really am. So I don't know how I'm going to vote yet.
Just to respond to that, this came before the Capital Committee in September and October, and once it went back and forth through the committee for well over a month, and as soon as the committee voted on it, Superintendent Wetzel has been hard at work applying for many grants. These things don't just come overnight, so he has applied, is applying for more. We are going to apply for every possible grant available for this project.
Okay, for the sake of argument, I want a list of the grants he's applied for and when he's applied.
There's a motion on the floor to move the question. Is it seconded? Okay. Motion to move the question requires two-thirds vote. All those in favor of moving the question, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It is unanimous, therefore it's a two-thirds vote. The question will be put to right now. To see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $104,911.31 from the reserve for special borrowing account for the water fund, and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow the additional sum of $895,088.69 for the replacement of East Main Street water mains. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous, therefore it's two-thirds vote, and the article is agreed to. Article 22, unexpended balance transfer for East Main Street sewer mains. To see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $82,388.77 from the reserve for special borrowing account of the sewer fund, $25,932.97 from the reserve for special borrow of the general fund, $2,530.60 for the reserve for special borrow of the solid waste fund, and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow the additional sum of $639,147.66 for the replacement or rehabilitation of East Main Street sewer mains, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Mr. Hillman.
Mr. Moderator, I move the question as outlined by the moderator.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, therefore two-thirds, and the motion is passed. Article 23, to transfer borrow authorization for Stony Brook Pump Station. To see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $450,000 authorization to borrow from Article 9 of the May 14, 2012 annual meeting, DPW Sewer Enterprise, West Main Street Pump Construction, to the DPW West Main Street Stony Brook Pump Station, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
Ms. Livingston.
I move that the article be moved as read by the moderator.
It's been moved and seconded to see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $450,000 authorization to borrow from the Article 19 of the May 14, 2012 annual town meeting, DPW Sewer Enterprise West Main Street Pump Station construction, to DPW Sewer Enterprise Stony Brook Pump Station. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, and therefore it's passed. Article 24, unexpended balance transfer for water meter radio read system. To see if the town will vote to transfer the unexpended balance of $45,036.15 authorization to borrow from Article 14 of the May 12, 2008 annual town meeting, DPW Water Enterprise SCADA upgrades to the DPW Water Enterprise meter radio read system, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
I vote to see if the town will vote as outlined by the moderator in Article 24.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, and therefore two-thirds, and the motion is passed. Article 25. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the following sums hereby listed for the purpose of funding the following equipment, services, and public works projects as contained in the capital budget. Each sum hereafter to be voted on separately or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. I will read each of them and then we'll vote on them individually. Town Hall windows, $168,000.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $168,000 for the town hall windows.
It's moved that the town vote to transfer from free cash $168,000 for town hall windows. Is there any discussion? Mr. Maxon.
I've watched with dismay some recent projects where new windows were hermetically sealed. We're moving forever the opportunity to do what we're doing tonight, open them to let fresh air in. Do we know the details of this project, whether it would be that type of replacement? If so, I'd vote against it twice if I could.
Say it again.
Yeah, the windows, once they're done, will they be hermetically sealed like some people think is a new thing to do so that we'd have only air conditioning? Or will we be able to open them and do what we're doing tonight and get fresh air in?
Mr. Pomerantz.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Maxon's question. If approved, these specific windows will allow anybody to open and close them.
Thank you.
They will not be sealed.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, $168,000 from free cash for town hall windows, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And it's agreed to, it's passed. Okay. Replace police chief's car, $31,000.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to see, why does that catch me? Vote to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $31,000 to replace the police chief's car.
Okay. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. To see if the town will transfer from free cash the sum of $33,000 for new servers for the town hall, fire, and DPW.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see the town will vote to see if the town, that doesn't sound right, will vote to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $33,000 for new servers for town hall, fire, and DPW.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's passed. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $50,000 for design for East Main Street improvements.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $50,000 for design for the East Main Street improvements.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $10,000 for a library microfilm reader.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $10,000 for the library microfilm reader.
Is there any discussion? There being none. Oh, Mr. Markham. Mr. Markham, can you come up here? We can't. Oh, here we. Oh.
Mr. Moderator, this equipment is to add to the technical equipment at the library, and hopefully that most people will take advantage of it and will benefit from it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And it's passed. And Article 20, we're on to Article 26. Fire Department Heavy Rescue Truck Replacement. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $475,000 required for the acquisition and equipping of a heavy rescue fire truck for the fire department, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to dispose of the existing vehicle replaced by the new vehicle by sale or trade, or take any action as necessary to effectuate the purpose of this vote, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
Ms. Livingston.
I move that Article 26 be moved as read by the moderator.
Then moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Chief Pedrazi. Okay. He said he has a presentation very short. He knows how I feel about presentations.
I promise I'll keep this very short, but I can't see spending that amount of money without at least telling the people what we're buying. I'm a little technology challenged. Okay, it is just for the replacement of a vehicle. It's a 1988 vehicle. Excuse me, where am I supposed to be pointing this thing? Is it running by the Mondo pad? Okay, it's pushing the wrong button. Sorry about that, I was a little technology challenged. We put together a committee when we decided that we needed this truck. It's actually been on the capital plan for the last 4 years. Myself, Captain Johnston, Captain Selaski, Lieutenant Bozick, Lieutenant Whalen, Lieutenant Januszkiewicz, and Lieutenant Shea. Mix of the call and full-time firefighters. We looked at several trucks to get ideas of what we needed. This is the truck that you will be replacing. It's 26 years old. It has insufficient capacity to carry the stuff we need. The style of it lends to insufficient communications, and it's not NFPA compliant. We're proposing to buy a truck that looks like this. The basic difference is that the other one is a commercial cab with 2 seats in the front, and the rest of the people would sit in the back, a box back. This one, all the seating is up front, and all the equipment's carried in the back of it. That's old versus new. That's an inside picture of the existing truck with all the equipment stuck on shelves. There's really no room to carry the stuff that we need to carry in the truck. That's the outside of the existing truck. This is what a new truck would look like. Everything in place where it would go. That's just a picture of the inside of the truck. Also has a light tower to light the scene of a rescue. So I was just looking for consideration on this truck. We do need to replace it. I know it's a lot of money, but I would like your affirmative vote. I would take any questions if anybody has questions. It has very low miles on the truck that we have now. I think it's around 4,000. They do not get a lot of miles. We're 9.3 square miles. It goes out on a lot of calls, but it doesn't travel a long distance.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article's passed. Okay, Mr. Luca?
Yeah, on advice of council, I'd like to withdraw Article 27.
Okay. Article 27 is withdrawn. Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. You guys didn't discuss this?
I should have explained that when I was up here before. We wrote a grant for this truck through the FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, and that $25,000 would be the matching portion of that grant. If we get the grant, we would need that money to fund the grant. We don't know yet if we're going to get that grant or not. We won't know probably for another 6 months or not, but if we are successful in getting that grant, that truck will cost the town $25,000 instead of $475,000. So I would ask that we keep this on the warrant tonight, just in case we get the grant. If not, I mean, it won't be used if we don't get the grant, but it's short money.
I'd like...
Town Council, can you
Mr.
please...
Moderator? Can we hear from Mark Rich, please?
Yep. Oh, I was ahead of you.
Oh, sorry.
If I may, through you, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Rich.
I think apologize for the sidebar discussion. What we're trying to avoid is essentially a double appropriation here. I understand the chief is suggesting essentially belt and suspenders. You just appropriated the entire amount for this this vehicle. That doesn't require that the town expend the entire amount. So certainly, if the town receives the grant that the chief has applied for, you would only expend the matching portion of it, and then you would come back at a future town meeting and you would rescind that authorization, that appropriation for the rest of the amount. So given that you've appropriated the entire amount, certainly you could pay the matching portion for the grant. So in my opinion, the matching portion is not necessary. It's not necessary to double appropriate for the same vehicle.
Okay, moving on. Article 28. See if the town will vote to transfer from free cash a sum of $40,000 to the Conservation Commission for the purpose of commissioning a comprehensive study of air ponds and developing a long-term management plan, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will vote to, they did it again, will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $40,000 to the Conservation Commission for the purpose of commissioning in a comprehensive study of the air ponds and developing a long-term management plan, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
You don't need to say that. So moved and seconded.
Mr. Moderator,
I forgot.
is this one not working? Can you hear me?
You hear me. Go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, my name is Bill Daniels. I'm the chairman of the Conservation Commission, and I'm joined by Mr. Chuck Miller from the Pond and Dam Committee. We'd like to explain Article 28 to the folks. Okay. Good evening. This funding request is to commission a comprehensive study of Ayer's ponds and develop a long-term management plan. As you're well aware, we have many ponds in the town of Ayer, all of which have different purposes and uses for the folks here, between recreation, enjoyment for their aesthetics, etc. Every pond in our town is affected in different ways by the folks and the businesses that are here. There are stormwater pollution, there are fish and wildlife that live in the ponds. Of course, we have invasive and native weeds, which people notice greatly as they pass by. And most folks use our ponds for recreation. The town of Ayer in 2011 determined that the ponds were not getting the attention that they needed, and the Board of Selectmen formed the Pond and Dam Committee. They had their first meeting in January, and during the year of 2012, they met with Conservation and the Board of Selectmen to move forward to discuss ways that we could take care of our ponds better. In 2013, we had several meetings, and we put out an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, with a number of companies that do studies of our ponds. When we issued that in 2013, we picked a company named Geosyntec. We met with Geosyntec, the Board of Selectmen, Pond and Dam. We have the express support of the Board of Selectmen and of the CPC to perform a study which will allow us to have a better handle on how to best treat our ponds, what kind of weed treatment, how to deal with some of the stormwater issues. The price for this study is $83,000. The DPW has shown support by dedicating $15,000 from their budget. The Pond and Dam Committee has dedicated $10,000, or all available money from their budget. The CPC, in our meetings with them, has expressed support by stating that they would like to give us $20,000, which is later tonight in Article 34. And the Board of Selectmen, in their support, indicated that they'd like us to take $40,000 from free cash to fund this, to help the town of Ayer. Are there any questions?
Any discussion? Ms. Bedurtha.
I'll go after this. My question, Bill, is a long time ago.
Ms. Bedurtha?
Yes,
Please
Mr.
stand.
Moderator. A long time ago, I remember that you guys had hired a company. I don't know if it's this current company, but if you draw down the water, the weeds around the outer part will die.
Thank you. There are several factors that we have found with the weed treatment. As you know, we did try that during the winter. One of the issues that we have that we can't accommodate like other towns do, for instance, Harvard, where they literally pump the pond down 4, 5, 6 feet. We can't do that, and our weed treatment is more extensive than that, as I'm sure you've noticed over the years. Even if we draw the water down, we can't accomplish that goal solely. I'm not sure what the best way to do this is.
Ms. Bedurtha.
Bill, couldn't we try just 1 year to draw it down like Harvard does, and just to see what would happen?
That could be part of the study information. Our problem is that the dam that's at the end of Balch Pond doesn't accommodate that kind of lowering. So remember, in the town of Ayer, too many buttons, Long Pond flows into Sandy Pond. Sand Pond flows into Flanagan's Pond. Flanagan's Pond comes around and flows into Balch Pond. Balch Pond comes through the dam, which is at the Rotary, and that dam does not accommodate lowering the water table like it would in Harvard. Harvard is set up to actually pump the water out of their pond.
Excuse me, sir. Just one, as a blast from the past used to say, it is not Flanagan's, it is Fletcher's Pond. And Mr. Richardson will be the first one to tell you that.
I have often heard the pond referred, and I'm not sure which F word to use for it, but yes.
It is Fletcher's.
Okay. Couldn't we restructure that dam so we could make it like Harvard? We could get a grant. There's grants out there for that too. I did a lot of homework on this stuff.
It certainly wouldn't be a one-year project, but
Yep.
if you have information to share, I would be thrilled to look at it.
Really?
because
Cool.
We would have. It's an extensive project to redo a dam.
Yes, it is. But you could get grant money for it.
There's always a potential.
Yeah.
Something that they could look at as part of their information that they
Okay.
put together for us.
All right.
Mr. Hillman.
As someone who lives on the backside of Spectacle Pond with the new flood controls that were put in after the flooding of 2010, the ability to draw down a pond to kill the weeds is very hit or miss, and does not work that well. It's completely based on snow, how cold it gets, and it's a very, very hard to judge remedy, and so far it hasn't worked at Spectacle Pond at all. The pond has been treated with chemicals ever since then, and that is the only thing that has remedied the weeds to this point. So the drawdown, to spend any more money to do that, in my opinion, really is throwing good money after bad, because it's not a real feasible way to do what these gentlemen are looking to do.
Mr. Miller.
An important thing to note here is that we are not looking at weed treatment with this money. We're looking at putting together a comprehensive plan to address all of the issues relating to the ponds. Weeds are one part of it. We're looking at what are opportunities for recreation, what are issues that we need to deal with as a community regarding stormwater and how that stormwater is infiltrating our waterways. There's a whole host of things that we're looking at. So when we're asking some of the questions like you are, we're getting ahead of ourselves, because this is what we're looking to get out of this study. We're looking to get those types of information and some suggestions as to how we would best manage these waters. We're not in a position to go beyond what we've already done as far as our base of knowledge. That's another reason why Geosyntec is perhaps better poised than our other vendors have been. When we've used ACT and Lycott in the past, their bread and butter is pond management in regards to weeds, weed control. Geosyntec goes beyond that, and they do not do weed control, they do pond studies. So the benefit that we have here is we're dealing with a company who has nothing to gain from follow-up treatments that would be recommended. So that's a real plus in our view. The other thing that's worth noting is you may have noticed that Bill and I are standing here collaborating instead of choking each other like we were 3 or 4 years ago. The plus that we have here is when we brought this to the town several years ago as Friends of Flanagan Pond, what we were able to get out of all of this strife starting off years back was that we did get some attention to this issue, and the thing that was brought to light from townspeople who objected to our neighborhood initiative was they were looking for a holistic approach to managing the ponds. They didn't want to just deal with one body of water. They wanted to deal with the entire spectrum of water in town so that it would cut across all aspects of water. You would have fishermen, you would have swimmers, you would have kayaks, you would have homeowners, and we would also be looking at where can we get access to the water. Right now, as an example, over the past year, there have been 3 or 4 homes for sale on Flanagan Pond, around Oak Ridge, Groton, Harvard Road, etc. If we're looking for ways that people can access the pond, one of the things that we could be looking at as we go through this study is what properties may be available, and we could be considering either purchasing them outright or applying through CPC grants, so we've appropriated conservation land, to actually have a place where you could buy a home that was inexpensive, level the home, put a place to park so people can put a half dozen cars in there and get access to the ponds without having to park on the street. So those are some of the things that we're looking at to open up the ponds to people. But the key right now is to actually get the study done. Ms. Bedurtha has mentioned on several occasions this evening grants. There are no grants for this level of study that we're looking at. However, by having a pond management plan, you're poised to position yourself for requesting grants that are related to actual action items. So as an example, if we were looking at creating access to the ponds, or looking at various aspects regarding cleaning the ponds, we may have access to grant money because we have a holistic plan in place. Right now, it's been hit or miss. It's been hit or miss because as a community we haven't looked at it holistically. It's hit or miss because we haven't looked at it holistically from a budgeting perspective. A key benefit that I would see personally is as we get a plan in place, we can look at the ponds as an asset the same way we look at the public buildings as an asset. And we could actually begin having an operating budget in place so that we're not, fighting to get funds every time a pond has found itself in decline. We would actually be doing this proactively. So those are the things that we'd be looking forward to out of this plan. Thank you.
We've tried the herbicides, we've tried all kinds of chemicals that didn't work. Okay? What they did in the olden days is they would draw down the water as much as they could. They would hire a bunch of locals with old bed springs, the coil ones, and they would drag it with a boat. I'm not kidding. And it really did work. It would cost very little money, and $40,000 would really fund the heck out of a new dam.
There's a motion to move the question on the floor. It's been seconded. All those in favor of moving the question, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It is a 2/3 vote in the opinion of the moderator. It is a chain. So motion is moved. See if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $40,000 to the Conservation Commission for the purpose of commissioning a comprehensive study for air ponds and developing a long-term management system. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is passed. Yeah. Okay. Article 29, GASB 45 OPEB, Post-Employment Benefits Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $300,000 to meet the town's obligations under the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB, Statement 45, to fund the town's future obligations for the cost of other post-employment benefits or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Ms.
Mr.
Livingston.
Moderator. I move to see the town will vote to raise and appropriate $70,000 and transfer $230,000 from free cash, totaling the sum of $300,000 to meet the town's obligation under the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB Statement 45, to fund the town's future obligation for the cost of other post-employment benefits, OPEB, or take any action thereon or in relation to.
Is there a second? Okay. I misunderstood her. Okay, so we're moving and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Maxon.
I would like to clarify whether the article impression that it gives me is accurate.
Frank, could you please talk into the mic so we can hear you?
I'd like to clarify whether the impression I get from the article is accurate. The word obligations in the second of the non-bold line it seems to imply that we're obliged under GASB 45 to do this. My impression is GASB 45 is an advisory statement considered to be what should be done, but it is not obligatory at all. We can choose whether to do it or not.
Mr. Hood.
GASB 45 is a accounting standard that we need to report our liabilities that we do have for future OPEB, which is other post-employment benefits for employees. We have an actuary report that's done every 2 years that breaks down our total future costs for current retirees and future retirees. That number roughly sits around $11 million. The funds that we're looking to put away are for those future costs, and the goal of putting aside money for OPEB per GASB 45 is that when it does get properly funded, the money will actually come out of the operating budget when those funds do come due. If for some reason, because there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of years as to whether or not this would be an actual liability, or if the state or the federal government would step in at some point in time and take that liability away from the municipalities. If that does occur and we do have funds put away, we can use that for things such as our county assessment that is currently in the operating budget, which was $1.3 million for FY15.
Okay, maybe I should rephrase the question because I think the answer is a lot simpler. This next place the word obligation appears, there's no question. We have to provide these post-employment benefits. But what I'm getting at is whether we are obliged to set this money aside now or whether we can go ahead and decide not to set it all aside now. The article makes it sound like we are obliged to set it aside now. I believe that's an option. We decide whether or not to do it. If we were obliged to set it all aside now, my impression is we'd have to set aside a whole lot more than $300,000.
I see your point. It is not a law that we do need to put these funds away. What we are trying to do is actually create a savings so that when the costs do come due at some point, whether it's in the form of OPEB or if it is within the county assessment that's within the general budget, if the federal government takes any actions, et cetera.
So it's not a mandate then, it's just a matter of what we consider to be good management among ourselves. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Ms. Connolly.
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Moderator. The warrant says 300,000, and if I heard the motion correct, it's 230,000.
Mr. Hood.
The article is worded that way. The total money that we're putting aside for OPEB is $300,000. When we built the budget, we allocated internally within the budget $70,000 estimate from meals tax and then $230,000 from free cash. However, the way that the article is written to come from, I believe it's available funds, which is all encompassing, the total we are putting aside is $300,000.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Just to clarify, the motion was $230,000. The warrant article says $300,000. So I know what Mr. Hood just explained. The motion that was made was $230,000.
Actually, I believe she said $70,000 first and then $230,000. That's why I went over and asked her. Okay. You noticed me going over, that's what it was.
So the total amount is
$300,000, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, the motion is passed. Article 30, designation of custodian of town's OPEB trust fund. To see if the town will vote pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 32B, Section 20 of the Massachusetts General Laws, as amended by Chapter 68, Section 57 of the Acts of 2011. The Act to designate the Healthcare Security Trust Board of Trustees to serve as custodian of the town's OPEB trust fund and authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to execute and deliver the custodian and investment agreement with HCST, and further to authorize the town treasurer to sign checks and wire OPEB trust funds to HCST or to the Pension Reserve Investment Trust, or as it may otherwise be directed by HCST, and to make withdrawals and investments and enter into such agreements and deliver such certificates and other documents as HCST or the PRIT Management Board may direct, to authorize the town treasurer to transfer any and all funds that have been and will be in the future be appropriated for the purpose of meeting the town's OPEB funding requirements to HCST or PRIT, and transfer the sum of $528,864.35 or other amount and any applicable additional interest accrued as of February 28, 2014 as the initial investment into the OPEB trust fund, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote as read by the moderator, Article 30.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
Just in case anybody doesn't know what this is, what it is we're taking our all our funds from OPEB, their post-employment benefits for health benefits that we have to pre-fund in the future. And what this is doing is putting this whole sum of money now and in the future and in the past into a fund that's managed by the state, and the yield is a lot more than we can realize here. So when you have, $500 million as opposed to $500,000, you're going to earn more interest on that because it's a pool of money. So that's why we had this presentation by Paul Tedesco from the state, and he recommended that we go that way.
Ms. Gittner, Town Treasurer. Can we get a microphone?
Hi, Stephanie Gettner, Town Treasurer, resident. We had already voted on this in 2011, but at that time, the state hadn't allowed us to invest our money with the HCST. And then in 12 or 13, I think, that's when they changed the law and allowed cities and towns to invest in the HCST. I believe that if we accept this section of the law, it doesn't allow us the freedom to invest wherever we want. I'm not saying I'm against investing in the HCST. I just don't want the town to be locked into them. And I would like to make a suggestion that we table this for now, come back in the fall, and accept the law the way it's written, and then we can invest wherever we want.
Are you making that as a motion?
Sure.
Is there a second? Okay, so moved and second to table this question. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The noes have it. Motion to table is... Mr. Maxon?
Ask him to table it till the fall. No, I said...
Do I understand correctly that the amendment would allow us still to do this investment with HCST?
No, her motion was to table the entire question.
Oh, beg your pardon. I'm sorry.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion on the floor? Are you citizens, voters? Oh, you're in the non-voting section, folks. That whole section there is non-voting. Okay.
Lee DeLuca, Pingree Way. I'd just like to get clarification. If we were to table this, is that in the interest of making...
The motion to table has already been decided, is voted down.
Without any discussion.
There is no discussion on motion to table, sir.
I thought you just asked for discussion.
No. I did after the motion to table was put down, was voted down.
Okay,
There was discussion on the article, not on motion to table.
okay, that's what I understood it to be. So forgive me.
Mr. Maxon.
You'll have basically the same question. If we don't accept this article tonight, am I to understand that we are still free, our treasurer is still free to invest in this fund as though we had, and the only difference that this article would make was that it limits us from doing any other investment, but that without this article we can do this investment or any other we think is appropriate?
Mr. Pombrian.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Maxon's question and just a point of clarification on this. It's also important to note that if the OPEB funds are not placed in an irrevocable trust as set forth in this article, then the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and from a federal point of view, does not recognize them as officially counting as OPEB funds because, one, if not placed in an irrevocable trust, theoretically, the town could use those funds for other purposes. I'm not saying that they would, as the previous article committed that money to OPEB, but until it's in an irrevocable trust, theoretically and actually technically, the funding could be appropriated for other purposes, hence why the state requires and the federal government requires it to be an irrevocable trust. Two, if it's not in an irrevocable trust, the amount that now stands at $528,864.35 would not legally count towards the town's OPEB requirement in the eyes of the state. So I just want to clarify that key point.
Ms. Connolly. Yeah, yeah.
When Mr. Tabasco was at the meeting of the Board of Selectmen, I specifically asked if this process involved placing the money into an irrevocable trust. His answer was no, this is not the method, and this particular print account is not an irrevocable trust. It's an entirely separate and distinct document. I spoke with Ms. Zawicki about it after the meeting. This is simply an investment of the funds in a different source, the same type of investment that this treasurer currently does, but as Mr. Luca pointed out, the return is greater because of the amount of funds in this particular fund. This is not an irrevocable trust.
And Town Treasurer Gittner, come on down. Oh, I'll get you next, sorry.
The town can get an irrevocable trust on its own, so our funds are protected. So all I'm asking is that we don't lock ourselves into HCST, and even if we do invest in them, we at least have the freedom to choose, and we can get an irrevocable trust on our own.
Any further discussion? Mr. Hood.
Just a quick comment on getting our own irrevocable trust. If we were to do that, we do need to find individuals within the town to volunteer to run that. And given the number of openings that we have on numerous committees, there is concern that we would be able to find volunteers to do that, which is why in the discussion that we had with the Board of Selectmen that we opted not to go that route.
Any further discussion?
Second.
Motion moved to question, and it's been seconded. All those in favor of moving the question, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. The motion is passed. It's 2/3 motion, and I only heard one vote say no. Okay? So now we move on to Article 30. To see if the town will the designation of custodial towns OPEB trust fund as read by me earlier. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? No. Motion is passed. Article 31. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $847,451, it's a change from your warrant, or such other sums or sums of money to the stabilization fund under the provisions of Chapter 40, Section 5B of the general laws, and to transfer 25% of said fund to capital stabilization per town's financial policies, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Hillman.
Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to raise and/or transfer from available funds the sum of $847,451 or such other sums or sums of money to the stabilization fund under the provisions of Chapter 40, Section 5B of the general laws, and to transfer 25% of the said sum to the capital stabilization per the town's financial policies.
Mr. Hillman, in order to be right, it has to be either raise and appropriate or to transfer. You can't say or transfer in the motion. It has to be one or the other or both. It has to be one raise and appropriate and transfer, or raise and appropriate or transfer.
Two different figures. It should be one raise and appropriate, one. Yeah. Should have a completely different warrant. How would you like me to word it again? I'm sorry. To see if the town will vote to...
Is it a raise and appropriate or is it transfer? Or is it an and transfer?
But it's both.
So it's and transfer.
Oh, all right. Sorry, but or. Well, reading from the warrant.
Raise appropriate and transfer. Yeah.
Do you want me to read the whole thing again?
Actually, okay.
All right.
I need the breakdown.
Sure.
Or you need to say the breakdown, I should say.
You got it, Lisa?
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, we have three different warrants here, so. Which one do I have?
That's the one Robert gave me tonight.
Just write the other figure on there.
By the way, while we're waiting, I have bad news. End of the second, Montreal 3, Boston nothing.
Game 7.
I don't plan on it.
Pull up on the fly math. At 10:30.
We're good. We're good. Ms. Bedortha, you got a question? Yes, we do. I just counted them.
So raise and appropriate 241,000 and transfer 605,000 for a total of. We're ready to go, I think.
Okay, Mr. Hillman, let's go second try.
Let's try it again. Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $241,690 and transfer $605,796 from free cash, totaling the sum of $847,451.
Okay. Can I have that in writing over here? I didn't.
What's that?
Can I have that in writing?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. So that's raise and appropriate, okay. 241, 690, so I did have that right.
This one is correct, and that's the total.
Okay. Oh, I said that one different, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $241,060 and transfer from available funds the sum of $605,796 to the stabilization fund under the provisions of Chapter 40, Section 5B of the general laws, and to transfer 25% of said sum to capital stabilization per town's financial policies. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When he made the motion, he made it for the actual amount that it is. When they put it in the article, in the warrant, in the article, the money in the article, that can be changed when he makes the motion, which is what he did. Okay. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Therefore, it's 2/3 vote, and it passes. Okay. Article 32. Community Preservation Act articles. Community Preservation Act. See if the town will hear and act on the report of the Community Preservation Act Committee on the fiscal year 2015 Community Preservation Act budget and appropriate from the estimated FY 2015 Community Preservation Fund revenues as written in the warrant. Mr. Livingston.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 32 is outlined in the warrant.
Is there a second? Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good. Article 33, CPC transfer of funds. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from the estimated FY 2015 Community Preservation Fund revenues of the sum of $12,000 more or less, and reserve said fund sum for future appropriation by the Community Preservation Act Committee for general open space purposes, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
I move to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the estimated 2015 Community Preservation Fund revenues a sum of $12,000 more or less, and reserve said sum for future appropriation by the Community Preservation Act Committee for general open space purposes.
Mr. Luca, it can't be more or less. It has to be an actual amount.
Strike more or less and put the sum of $12,000.
Is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Good. Okay, Article 34, CPC Community Comprehensive Pond Survey and Management Plan. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from the estimated FY 2015 Community Preservation Fund revenues the sum of $20,000 more or less to the Conservation Committee for the purpose of commissioning a comprehensive study of Ayer's ponds and developing a long-term management plan, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Mr. Hillman.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 34 as outlined by the moderator.
I said more or less, so you gotta say the actual amount. You said more or less too? Well, that's the way I have to read it. Wow.
Mr. Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to appropriate from the estimated FY 2015 Community Preservation Fund revenues of the sum of $20,000, more or less, to the conservation.
No, not more or
all
less.
right, strike more or less, $20,000.
Is there a second? All those, any discussion? Mr. Bedurtha.
Can you hear me? Is this money just coming from the revenues, or is it coming out of one of the specific funds set aside?
It's coming out of the Community Preservation Act fund revenues, it says.
So the revenues itself, not coming out of open space or?
No.
So it's not the money, okay. So I thought the money had to be put into one of those sections or one of those groups, and then transferred from that out into, to be used. So you're taking it directly out of the funds, not assigning it? What's that? You can do both. Okay.
Any further discussion? Ms. Maxon.
I just
just want to clarify the total cost of this, because I think that Mr. Daniel said that it was $15,000 from the Public Works, and then there was $40,000 that we voted upon, and then there's $20,000, and then there's another $10,000 that the Conservation had given them. I just wanted to clarify it, that's all.
That's correct.
Okay, what's the total then?
You asked. Uh-oh. It's not. Sorry, I had a slide.
Anticipation.
Thank you. Where'd you go, Ruth? Ruth? So, exactly as you quoted, that was perfect. The DPW has given $15,000 out of their budget for this because it benefits them. Pond and Dam has given $10,000 out of their budget for support. We voted on the $40,000 earlier, and this is a $20,000 component that CPC felt was worthwhile for this project. The total cost is $83,000 and change for it, and we put together about an $85,000 budget for any changes or minor modifications that we needed to make. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Okay. Article 35, Board of Election Registrars. To see if the town will vote pursuant to Chapter 41, Section 110A of the Massachusetts General Laws to allow the office of the Board of Registrars to remain closed on Saturdays or take any action thereon or in relation thereto. Ms. Livingston.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 35 as outlined by the moderator.
A second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion's passed. Okay. Article 36, Petition for Street Acceptance, Mountain Laurel Way. To see if the town will vote to accept the layout of Mountain Laurel Way as a public way, the metes and bounds of which are on file in the office of the town clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, purchase, or eminent domain, fee, interest, or easement in such public ways and any and all easements related thereto, and further to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into all agreements and take all related actions necessary or appropriate to carry out this acquisition, on such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen deems appropriate, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Luca.
There's one little change in here. I move to see if the town will vote to vote and accept the layout of Mountain Laurel Road, not Mountain Laurel Way, as a public way and as read by the moderator with the remainder.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Where is it?
Where's Mountain Laurel Way?
Yes.
Sandy Pond Estates, off of Sandy Pond, down the end, take a left. Sandy Pond Estates, I think it is, Pete? Yeah.
Just before Westford Road. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is passed. Article 37, Acceptance of Provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 33B, serving alcoholic beverages between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Sundays. To see if the town will accept the provisions of Chapter 138, Section 33B of the Massachusetts General Laws, which provides the local licensing authority of any city or town which accepts this section may authorize licenses under Section 12 to sell alcoholic beverages between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 noon on Sundays, the last Monday in May, and on Christmas Day, or on the day following when said day occurs on a Sunday, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Hillman.
I move to see if the town will accept the provisions of Chapter 138, Section 33B, as outlined by the moderator.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passed. Article 38, Authorize the Board of Selectmen to increase the fee of business certificates pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 110, Section 5. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 110, Section 5, and Chapter 262, Section 34, subsection 20 of the Massachusetts General Laws to increase the fee charged for business certificates issued for the period of 4 years from $20 to $30, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Livingston.
I move Article 38 as outlined by the moderator.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, 1 no, 2/3 vote, and 2/3 does carry. Motion is passed. Article 39. These are citizen petition articles. Town Hall Memorial Garden flowering trees. Petition. We, the undersigned residents, welcome spring each year with the wonderful profusion of pink and white blossoms provided by our beautiful established flowering trees. In addition to the spring beauty, they provide a protective I think that means haven, from the harshness of the summer sun for those visiting the memorial garden or just stopping for a moment's rest. The shade they provide also helps to prolong the life of the garden's annual plantings of beautiful geraniums, which would fade much faster in the unrelenting sun. Because they are mature trees, they add to the feeling of stability and permanence that was so beautifully preserved at substantial cost to the taxpayers in the renovation of the town hall and the surrounding property. We therefore respectfully request that every consideration be given to the maintenance and preservation of the valuable town hall assets by skilled professionals so that they may continue to provide beauty and shade on the town hall property. Mr. Rich, is there a motion there somewhere? It's a resolution. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Article 40, adoption of the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5K, Senior Work-Off Abatement Program. To see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5K, to establish a senior work-off abatement program administered by the Board of Selectmen, where the seniors provide services to the community at an hourly rate no higher than the state minimum wage, and their earnings are credited to reduce their property tax bills, and to adjust the exemption in this section by 1, allowing an approved representative for persons physically unable to provide such services to the town, or 2, allowing the maximum reduction of the real property tax bill to be based on 125 volunteer service hours in a given tax year rather than the $1,000, or take any action thereon or in relation thereto.
Waiting for me? This is working, yes. This notes petition...
Mr. Pattenden, there's no motion for you.
Mr. Pattenden, 42 Westford Road. Okay, this...
Mr. Pattenden, there's no motion on the floor yet.
Okay, I make a motion to pass this Article 40.
Is there a second?
Fine.
Discussion, Mr. Pattenden.
Thank you. The article, in essentially the same, was passed in May 2012. Nobody was ever employed under this article. The first question is, does it need to be repeated every year, or is this now ongoing?
Mr. Pombriand.
Mr. Moderator, through you to Mr. Pattenden's question. As noted in the warrant, town meeting adopted Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K in May of 2012. So we do not have to adopt the statute each year. Town meeting has already done that. We now have to implement the program through the moderator as explained at the public hearing for the budget. When this was passed in 2012, we were ready to implement it. There were some IRS changes and so forth that prohibited that. We are now, not prohibited that, but hampered that. We're now in a position to move forward with implementation of this program. So respectfully, the citizens petition, we do not need to adopt the Mass General Law, Mr. Moderator. And it is the intent, respectfully, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, to begin to implement the program.
Would you care to withdraw your motion, sir?
Yes, in that case, since this is now town law, I withdraw the motion.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Mr. Swanfeld. Seconded. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye.